Chapter 1104. You're courting death. Lin Muyu lightly shook her arm, and her entire body shone with golden light. Behind her, a golden red flame transformed into a long robe, and her entire body was covered in a suit of armor. This was Lin Muyu's divine transformation state. In the divine book of the Eastern Divine Realm, Lin Muyu's identity was that of a martial, so the effects of divine transformation were naturally extraordinary. The golden robe fluttered, and the flames burned. In an instant, Wada Junichi, who had launched a sneak attack, was burned to ashes, leaving only a sparkling godhead that fell to the ground. Just the remnant power of divine transformation was enough to kill a divine king. Tong Mingchao's face was deathly pale. Not only was he shocked, but he was also in awe. Ever since the 7 luminaries demon emperor took over the East Heaven, the Eastern Divine Realm had been recognized as the strongest of the 4 divine realms. Who could be chosen as a marshal by the 7 luminaries demon emperor? How could any of them be easy to deal with? The Lin Muyu in front of him was probably far stronger than him. Lin General. Tong Mingchao's expression was a little dejected. Lin Muyu lightly waved her hand. It seems like there's no one to send a message. In that case, there's no need. If the 3 of you can't return, I believe that your Jin Zun will naturally come looking for me, right? Yes, Jin Zun will follow my aura and come looking for me. Tong Mingchao's expression dimmed, and he said, Is Lin General going to fight with Jin Zun? Is he qualified to be my opponent? Lin Muyu asked. Tong Mingchao nodded slightly. Lin Muyu could not help but be surprised. Tong Mingchao had seen her strength, but he still said that. This was enough to prove that he was a golden venerable. Perhaps, could he be a level 99 Grotto Heaven Pinnacle God Emperor? That's right. Tong Mingchao smiled bitterly. Lord Jin Zun is indeed a 99th layer heavenly abode, the most capable general under the World King. Even with your abilities, Lin General, I'm afraid that you are not Jin Zun's opponent. Lin Muyu smiled. All right, I'll wait for him to find me. Let's go. Put this on. What is this? Tong Mingchao looked at the pair of shackles and couldn't help but be shocked. Something that can turn you into a mortal. Lin Muyu smiled faintly and suddenly grabbed Tong Mingchao's wrist. The shackles refined by the demonic heart stone locked the god up. Then she brought him to the surface. On the ground, the flames were still burning, but most of the mutants had been subdued. As for the attacker, he was already a sieve. The moment his divine power was used up and his earth energy disappeared, his body was pierced by the nano-bullets. Of course, the most fatal one was the sword on his neck. Li Xiaoyao directly cut his meridians, so he couldn't use his divine power. Naturally, only death awaited him. The attacker laid there, the ground covered in golden blood. Tong Mingchao took a look and his eyes were filled with pity. You guys asked for it, don't blame others, Lin Muyu said. I know. Winner takes all, that's how it is. Tong Mingchao smiled faintly. If you lose the battle against Jin Zun, you guys will end up the same way. You want to kill us all? Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows. Humph, don't talk so much nonsense. Let's talk in the car. Bringing the imprisoned Tong Mingchao into the East Sea Fleet's base, Li Xiaoyao handed over the mission to Sun Xiang that night. The East Sea Fleet had been facing a sudden attack by the mutants had been resolved, but they couldn't let down their guard. At this time, they had entered a state of panic. All the major battlefields on the continent had entered a state of alert, which could be felt from the constant roars of fighter jets in the air. In the early hours of the morning, 5 armed helicopters left Ningbo to escort Li Xiaoyao, Lin Muyu, and the others back to the secret base in Shanghai. After all, Tong Mingchao was not an ordinary human, so he had to be watched by someone. It wasn't safe for him to stay in the East Sea Fleet. The autumn evening wind poured into the airport. Lin Muyu was blown by the wind, frowning. She, Li Xiaoyao, Xing Lai, and Fu were in a helicopter, while Tong Mingchao was in the helicopter in front to escort them and ensure their safety. What's wrong, Linji? Why are you frowning? Li Xiaoyao said, We should celebrate the successful completion of the mission. I was planning to hold a celebration party when we return to Shanghai. We won't go home until we're drunk. Don't rush the celebration party. Lin Muyu looked deeply into the night and said, "Our opponents are far from just Tong Mingqiao. There's still a gold venerable above him. He's one of the top figures in the southern divine realm. I'm afraid his strength isn't below mine. I brought Tong Mingqiao back to lure this gold venerable to fight me." "What? You didn't mention this to me." Li Xiaoyao was shocked and then asked, "What's the background of this gold venerable? How strong is he?" "Very, very strong. According to the classification of power in the God realm, I'm level 95, and he's level 99, the maximum." Li Xiaoyao frowned. "But you have good equipment. Don't you have the Xinyuan sword?" "You can say so. My skills might be stronger than his, but it doesn't guarantee my victory." Lin Muyu sighed softly and said, "This is a gamble. It will decide the fate of Earth in the future. If I win, Earth will still be Earth. If I lose, Earth will probably become a plane enslaved by the southern divine realm." "Absolutely not. We will never be someone else's slave." Li Xiaoyao shook his head coldly. Lin Muyu smiled. "Good brother, I'm very happy that you have this ambition. If once I lose or am killed, you must be decisive. Immediately ascend to the eastern divine realm and find the 7 luminaries demon emperor to avenge me." "Ascend?" Li Xiaoyao shook his head repeatedly. "I won't give up on my family and friends to drag out an ignoble existence. If we really lose, I'd rather die on the battlefield than leave alone. No one can persuade me otherwise." Lin Muyu couldn't help but smile. "I was also stubborn back then. That's why I died." "Died?" Li Xiaoyao was stunned. Lin Muyu leaned back and recalled the scene of her being killed by Luolan in Lanyan City. She said, "There's no pain in death. It's just a silent disappearance. As long as she's still in my heart, there's nothing to be afraid of." Li Xiaoyao seemed to understand something. He stopped talking and hugged the butterfly in his arms tightly. He knew that at the moment of death, the butterfly was his best friend. Only it could save him and protect the people he cared about. In the early hours of the morning, several cruisers glowed on the Pacific Ocean. Suddenly, a man wearing a high-ranking military rank rushed up to the deck excitedly, laughing loudly. "Ping! Tin! Japanese found it." Everyone cheered and hugged each other. Finally, the long-awaited mission was about to be completed. The salvage ship kept shaking and shaking. Many navies had already run to the edge of the ship to see what the salvage ship had found. The seawater made a hissing sound. Soon after, a faint red light appeared below. Everyone was dumbfounded. One by one, they shouted something incomprehensible in horror. A few minutes later, the water turned fiery red. The seawater also buzzed and trembled as if there was a demon hiding in the deep sea. The sea breeze blew, and waves were lifted onto the deck, drenching the Navy's clothes. Everyone was a little scared, but also a little excited. They stopped talking and just watched with their eyes wide open. They almost forgot to breathe. Buzz! The seawater rippled violently, and a dazzling light slowly rose from the bottom of the sea. As the iron chain on the salvage ship's giant arm rose, it gradually emerged from the water. In the huge net hanging from the hook was a huge fiery red sword at least 10 meters long. The blazing fire almost made people unable to open their eyes, and ancient characters appeared on the blade. "What do you mean?" a colonel asked. But the surrounding people shook their heads in confusion. No one knew what the text was about, but no one would question the power of this behemoth. Among the crowd on the deck, a man in a black robe slowly opened his cloak, revealing an old but spirited face. The corners of his mouth gently curled up, and he said with a smile, "We've finally found you, Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword, the legendary first-class artifact. We finally found you. As expected, you're sleeping in the great realm of desolation, sir." The old man smiled and nodded. "That's right, that's it." "What?" The Major General showed a congratulatory smile. The elderly man laughed out loud, then leaped up into the air. After flying around the Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword for a few circles, he slowly gripped the hilt of the sword. Immediately, the sword began shrinking, as if it had recognized its master, until it became a moderate-sized sword. However, the fiery light grew stronger and stronger, and its power didn't decrease at all. Wisps of heat rose from the sword, as if it was cheering for a new master. The old man's eyes glowed, and he said with a smile, "You were originally from the realm beyond heaven, but you were obtained by a weak god like Zhu Rong in the mortal world. It's really a disgrace to your power. But don't worry, in my hands, you will kill those legends, and make the impossible possible." With that, the old man looked to the west coldly and said, "Inzuan Tong, don't worry, I will come to rescue you immediately." The major general seemed to want to say something, but he did not dare to. In the eyes of the old man, this group of soldiers from Country J was simply like ants, not worth mentioning. Now that the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword had been found, they had also lost their last value. In the early hours of the morning, Lin Muyu, who had just closed his eyes on the bed, suddenly sat up. His heart was beating very fast, and his mind was filled with ominous scenes. He saw some things, saw someone crying, shouting, but he could not tell who it was, nor could he see what was happening. "Jin Zun," he called out lightly, and the light in his eyes burst out and said, "The person you are looking for is me. It has nothing to do with others. Come to me." Chapter 1105. Whoosh! A ray of golden light fell on the salvage ship and condensed into the vague figure of Lin Muyu. She had found Jin Zun the moment he obtained the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword. "Alert!" someone shouted. A group of soldiers aimed at Lin Muyu's figure. However, this was just a wisp of spiritual will. It was invisible and did not fear bullets at all. Lin Muyu seemed to ignore the soldiers around her. She looked at Gold Sovereign with torch-like eyes and smiled faintly. "You are Gold Sovereign of the Southern Divine Realm?" "That's right." Jin Zun took off his cloak and revealed an old and reserved face. He smiled. "If I'm not wrong, you are the Left Marshal of the Eastern Divine Realm, Lin Muyu?" "Yes." Lin Muyu looked at the divine sword and said, "Is this what the Southern Divine Realm is looking for?" "That's right." Jin Zun said indifferently, "The Zhu Rong sacred fire sword, a holy artifact from the realm beyond heaven that has been passed down for tens of thousands of years, has finally returned to the hands of our descendants. Zhu Rong's treasure clearly belongs to the descendants of Wuxia. When did it become your turn? Lin Muyu, you are still too young and immature. There are many things you don't know." Jin Zun smiled. "Who do you think the ancestor of the Southern Divine Realm is? The evil death god? That's not the case. The white realm of the Southern Divine Realm also came from the great realm of desolation 50,000 years ago. What right do you have to say that the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword doesn't belong to us? We are all gods from the great realm of desolation. The treasure here belongs to everyone." Lin Muyu narrowed her eyes. "The Zhu Rong sacred fire sword is already yours. What else do you want? You've killed so many gods of our southern god realm. Do you really think you can just walk away like that?" Jin Zun said calmly. "What do you mean? Is the southern god realm planning to start a war with our East Heaven? It's not a war, just revenge." Jin Zun pointed his sword at Lin Muyu and said, "This is a grudge between you and me. You killed my people without distinguishing between right and wrong. How can I let you go? Besides," Jin Zun smiled meaningfully. His eyes were filled with a taboo smile. "It's rare to meet a god emperor with a supreme godhead and a 95th level grotto heaven. You are a rare talent that only appears once in 10,000 years. How can I miss this chance to learn from you?" Lin Muyu said calmly, "So what you mean is, you want to continue to work hard for Japan and become our enemy?" "Of course not. There's only a deal between me and them. There's no gratitude. Fine. Learn from me or learn from me. I'll keep you company." Golden Sovereign laughed and stroked his beard. "Marshal Lin, don't worry. This old man won't do anything to your family or friends. In this old man's eyes, you're the only one worthy of being called an opponent. I won't do anything despicable. As for the friction between the two countries, this old man has nothing to do with this old man. I won't interfere anymore." Lin Muyu couldn't help but feel a bit of respect. "Thank you for your understanding, senior. Then, let's decide on a place to fight it out." "There's no hurry." Jin Zun looked at the vast ocean in the darkness and said, "I still have some things to do. When I'm done, I'll go find Lin General and fight it out. Please wait patiently. Lin Muyu sensed something unusual and said, Senior, you said you won't interfere in the affairs of the countries on Earth. Please keep your promise. Don't worry. At this time, a group of soldiers from J country finally couldn't bear it anymore. The Major General took out his pistol and shot Lin Muyu in the head. With a bang, the golden light faded and a hole appeared on Lin Muyu's forehead. But she didn't seem to be injured at all. She just looked at him coldly. Jin Zun frowned. Idiot, what are you doing? Put down your gun. This is the god of the divine realm. How can a waste like you compete with him? Get out of my sight immediately. The group of soldiers was submissive. Rather than saying that they were cooperating, it was better to say that Jin Zun was threatening them. Lin Muyu clasped her fist and smiled. Then, Senior, see you later. See you later. Jin Zun also clasped his fist. They were both gods from the great realm of desolation, and there were many similarities in etiquette. When Lin Muyu's figure slowly dissipated into golden light and flowed into the sea, a group of members of J country's maritime self-defense force were stunned. They had a very bad feeling in their hearts. More and more non-humans were appearing on Earth, and they were speaking Chinese. No matter what, this was not a good thing. The next morning, the sun was shining brightly. The Lin family's villa still seemed so quiet and peaceful. The family ate breakfast together, and the atmosphere was indescribably harmonious. How did yesterday's mission go, brother Yu? Qin Yin asked with a smile. It went smoothly. Lin Muyu smiled. Lin Shun looked up at him and said, Xiao Ji, no matter what, you are not a soldier. Don't hang out with people like Li Xiaoyao and Xinglai all day. It's too dangerous. Lin Muyu knew that her father cared about her safety the most, and couldn't help but smile. It's okay, Floated. I know what I'm doing. Besides, Li Xiaoyao needs me. Lin Shun said helplessly, anyway, be more careful. Lin Yen swirled the milk in his cup and said, today's morning news has already come out. Last night, there was a very serious explosion in the direction of Ningbo. Some people saw many corpses and the appearance of special forces. However, the official explanation was that it was an explosion at a chemical plant. It's really ridiculous. It was clearly an abandoned residential area. Lin Muyu smiled and said, the government has to appease people. Otherwise, people will be anxious and no one will be in the mood to do their work. Wouldn't the whole society be in chaos then? Lin Yen glanced at him and said, Brat, your tone is already like that of a superior. I should say a ruler. Speaking of which, what is your position in the Shattered Cauldron realm? Lin Muyu was a bit embarrassed and didn't know what to say. Qin Yin giggled and said, Big brother, Brother Yu is the empire's marshal and controls millions of troops. He was also conferred the title of Qin Wang, which is a noble. Lin Yen couldn't help but laugh and said excitedly, Dad, did you hear that? That brat Yu has become a prince. He brought honor to his ancestors. Our Lin family finally has someone who can play with the throne. Lin Shun had a helpless expression and didn't say anything. The Shattered Cauldron realm was too far away for him. His only hope was for his family to be safe and sound, for the Long Exine group to prosper day by day, and for them to live happily ever after. Lin Muyu said, Brother, didn't I tell you? In the world of the Shattered Cauldron realm, Xiao Yin is the empress of the Qin Empire, which is also the monarch. Xiao Shi is a princess. It's like playing house. I don't know if you believe it or not. I believe it. Lin Yen was a gaming maniac and was naturally very interested in this kind of war and killing. He said, if it's true, then Xiao Ji, you guys, have you really fought in a war before? What do you think? Tell me, what is a real cold weapon war like? You don't want to know. Why? Lin Yen had a puzzled expression. Lin Muyu frowned slightly and said, Brother, it's different from a game. The war I experienced was real. My friends died one by one, some even had their heads chopped off. My army was killed and scattered. No one buried the corpses of the soldiers, they were rotten and swollen. When the city fell, many people's heads were hung on the city walls. I knew many of them. You don't want to know what their eyes looked like when a weapon pierced through their body. You also don't want to know what it feels like to be defeated and helpless. At that time, I ate raw bear meat, drank beast blood, slept in pits, and slept in the snow. I personally saw the flames of war turn cities into ashes. Brother, you, don't say any more. Qin Yin suddenly held his hand. All these years, Lin Muyu had suffered too much. Lin Shun was a little dazed as he listened. The oatmeal bread in his hand was in his mouth, but he didn't take a bite. At this moment, he finally understood what Lin Muyu had experienced all these years. When he came back to see him, he was just like the sunny youth he used to be. This second son of his had really matured. He had learned to hide himself and also learned to care for his family. Lin Yan was stunned with his mouth wide open. The world of war Lin Muyu described was indeed very different from the game. It was a more bloody world, ruthless and cruel. Looking at his father and brother, Lin Muyu felt a little apologetic and smiled. But we still won in the end. Xiao Yin and Xiao Shi are still by my side. So, no matter how much we suffered, it was worth it. Lin Yan was a little embarrassed and smiled. Xiao Ji, I understand now. You don't have to say any more. Forget it, I'll take you, Xiao Yin and Xiao Shi to the bar tonight. Relax a little. Don't be so tense all day. A hopeful look appeared on Qin Yin's face. Tang Xiaoxi bit her red lips. I'm afraid it's not time to relax yet. Last night, there was an energy fluctuation coming from the southeast. Mu and Xiao Yin, didn't you feel it? A god stronger than us has appeared. I know, I've seen him. Lin Muyu said, don't worry, it'll be fine. Let's go relax tonight. It just so happens, you two haven't seen what the entertainment industry on Earth is like. Instantly, Tang Xiaoxi let her guard down and smiled. Okay, Ling Yan immediately took out his phone and scrolled through it, looking for something. Brother, what are you doing? Lin Muyu asked. Lin Yan said, I'm looking. Which girl should I bring to the bar tonight? After all, Xiao Yin and Xiao Shi are both great beauties. If I bring a second one, it'll be too embarrassing. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi couldn't help but laugh and blush. Lin Muyu said, have you found one? Not yet. Lin Yan frowned. I suddenly realized a problem. None of the girlfriends I've dated in the past few years are super beauties. Moreover, they're basically just for the kidneys and not the hearts. Lin Muyu pursed her lips. You rely on sports cars to pick up girls. That's naturally the case. But you can ask Faye, from ZGTV out. She's quite pretty. Okay. Lin Yan's eyes lit up. You have a way. Chapter 1106. At night, Didi Bar started to bustle with people after 10 o'clock. A white Porsche Panamera slowly drove into the bar's reception area. Instantly, a beautiful lady in a bar uniform came over and smiled. Lin Yan, you're here? Lin Yan nodded and smiled. Ailey, I have the total of 5 people on my side. My brother and 3 beauties. Have you arranged them for us? Then get off the car. After getting off the car, Lin Yan handed the car key to a bar waiter. Then he led Lin Muyu, Qin Yin, and Tang Xiaoxi into the bar. Instantly, heavy metal sounds swept over like waves of air. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi were not used to it. They were used to living in Broken Cauldron World and were used to the tranquility there. Now, the sound in the bar could only be described with one word, boredom. However, after getting used to it, it really made people feel relaxed. Lin Yan ordered 2 bottles of expensive liquor. There was no reason for the 2 young masters of Long-Xian group to drink cheap liquor. All kinds of men and women seemed to be in the mood. Many people were already dancing to the music at the edge of the stage. On the stage, there was a group of dancers wearing exaggerated clothes. Lin Muyu sat down and smiled. Don't you feel that the clothes of the dancers look like the armor of the armor demon? Both Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi burst into laughter. It was indeed very similar. The armor of an armor demon was only responsible for protecting the joints of its body, so it looked like it was not wearing any armor at all. The dancers on the stage also achieved the same result by different means. Today, you don't need to circulate your energy to get rid of the alcohol smell. If you get drunk, then so be it, Lin Muyu said. Qin Yin looked at him gently, then looked at the liquor on the table. This kind of liquor that doesn't even have the smell of alcohol, can you really get drunk? It has a strong aftereffect. Just wait and see. Hee, okay. Lin Muyu asked again, Big brother, when will Fei Er arrive? Don't worry. She said that she was still streaming an hour ago. She should be here by now. Oh. Just as he finished speaking, a beautiful figure walked in. It was Fei Er from 2 days ago. However, Er wasn't wearing her uniform. Instead, she was wearing a white dress that looked like an evening dress. Sorry, I'm late. Er apologized with a smile. It's good that you know you're late. How about drinking 3 cups of wine as punishment? Lin Yan said. Come on, you haven't even started yet. I can tell. Sat down between Lin Muyu and Lin Yan and said, Come, let's have a toast first. All right. After drinking a cup of wine, a strange taste lingered in the throat. Even Lin Muyu felt strange, not to mention Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi. The fragrant Cauldron Realms flower wine was very mellow and delicious. Although it had a higher alcohol content, it wasn't bad. On the other hand, this 20,000 yuan bottle in front of them was really mediocre. Just like that, the music grew louder and the amount of wine they drank increased. After the 5 of them finished 2 bottles of wine, Lin Yan asked for 2 more. This made Lin Muyu feel that she wouldn't be able to go back tonight. Fortunately, she had transferred Gomeng back home to protect her father, so she didn't have to worry about any danger. Qin Yin's and Tang Xiaoxi's faces were already pink. They shook the dice to see who was bigger or smaller. Moreover, it was just a dice to see who was bigger or smaller. It was simple violence. Whoever lost would have to drink a cup, but the more they drank, the more they drank. On the other hand, Fei, who was used to this kind of scene, seemed to have drunk too much today. Her face was slightly red as she looked at Lin Yan and then at Lin Muyu. She said, Today, I'm so happy. As long as you're happy. Lin Yan said, If you can't go back today, come to my house. I have a lot of rooms. It's our first time drinking together, isn't it inappropriate? Er's mouth had a trace of a naughty smile. Lin Yan was speechless. What are you thinking? My purpose is very simple. If you don't believe me, you can ask Xiao Ji. That's not it. Said, Lin Ji looks much more upright than you. Really? Lin Yan squinted his eyes and looked at Lin Muyu's hand. Also looked over and found that Lin Muyu's hand was placed on Qin Yin's snow-white legs. Cough, cough. Lin Yan reminded. Oh, I've been discovered. Lin Muyu smiled awkwardly. She raised her glass and said, Brother, I'll give you a toast. After finishing the glass, Fei seemed to be unable to take it anymore. She silently lay on the sofa with her eyes red, but she didn't say anything. What's wrong, Fei? Lin Muyu asked. Fei's eyes couldn't help but turn even redder. She suddenly turned around and gently leaned her face on Lin Muyu's shoulder. She still didn't say anything. Lin Yan was dumbfounded. He was the one who invited the girl, but why was she leaning on his brother's shoulder? He felt like a failure. What's wrong? Lin Muyu gently patted Fei's shoulder. Her flirting skills were already at the master level. Fei's eyes were red. She raised her head and said, I really envy you and Lin Yan. The 2 of you have such a good relationship with each other. You have a good family background, and you live a carefree life. Xiao Lin also loves you. How nice. What are you talking about? Lin Muyu was also dumbfounded. Said, You don't know how much a small streamer like me has suffered. Then tell us today. We won't tell anyone, Lin Muyu said. Fei's eyes were covered with tears. She lowered her head and said, My boss is exploiting me. Lin Yan said, What's wrong? You want to talk about it? If you really can't do it, you can quit. You can find another company. I can introduce you to GTV or Feng Yun. I can't. I signed a 10-year contract. Fei pursed her red lips. I'll continue to commentate Eternal Moon, Spirit of Grief, Heaven Blessed, and Destiny. My boss said, if Eternal Moon Corporation releases a 4th epic-making MRPG, I'll have to do it. Fei whimpered. I'm already in my 30s. He's so inhumane. Although Lin Muyu didn't understand what she meant, she seemed very sad. She lowered her head and said, "Don't cry, don't cry. Life is like this. You just have to endure it." Lin Yan also said, "Alcohol gets into the heart of sorrow, so don't drink too much." Wiped her tears with a napkin and squeezed out a smile. "Sorry, I need to go to the washroom. I'll go with you." Lin Yan stood up and led Fei through the crowd to the washroom. Lin Muyu turned around and played a few rounds with Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi. They won all of them. Why aren't they back yet? Qin Yin glanced in the direction of the washroom. Lin Muyu also frowned. "Yeah, it's been almost 10 minutes. What's going on? Even if they're doing it in the washroom. With Big Bro's ability, it should be over by now." Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi blushed. They both understood. "Tui." Lin Muyu stood up. "Alright, I'll go take a look. You guys have fun." "Okay, come back early." And so, Lin Muyu walked through the crowd and headed for the washroom. The washroom of this bar was shared by both men and women, and there didn't seem to be many people there. Before Lin Muyu walked in, she could already hear cursing. "What right do you have to say that this girl is yours? She's drunk. You want to take her away? You're dressed well. How can you do such a dirty thing? You even dare to touch my brother Bao's woman?" In the corner, a burly man in a t-shirt was holding the unconscious Fei in his arms. He stepped on the abdomen of another person. That person's face was red as if he was beaten. It was Lin Yan. Instantly, Lin Muyu was infuriated. She dashed forward and used her right arm to push away the man called Brother Leopard. She then caught Fei, who had slipped out of his arms. But was already drunk and her face was red. "Xiao Ji." Lin Yan climbed up awkwardly. There were 3 young men beside Brother Bao. Each of them had a fierce look on their face. One of them, a young man with short red hair, said in a weird tone, "Yo, another idiot. Do you want to be a hero or a dog eating sh*t? Block the door and don't let anyone in. Beat him up." One of the gangsters went to block the door of the washroom, but the other 2 rushed over. Lin Muyu raised her palm. She didn't use her divine power. She only used the strength of an ordinary person to fight. Her palm cleverly slapped the 2 gangsters' cheeks, leaving a burning palm print. Moreover, Lin Muyu's physique was so strong that the 2 gangsters couldn't stand steadily after 2 slaps. "Brother, who hit you just now?" Lin Muyu asked. "Both." Lin Yan was furious. "I've been in this area for so many years, but I've never seen such a tyrannical person. They directly snatched people. Are they going to King use force?" Brother Bao stood up with a fierce face. "Brothers, let's go together and cripple these 2 brothers." However, the moment he stepped forward, Lin Muyu directly punched him in the face. His nose immediately became crooked and blood flowed out. Even one of his front teeth fell out. He lay on the ground in a miserable state. Lin Muyu said, "Brother, what are you waiting for? They bullied our Lin family. Bully them back now. You can hit them all you want. Anyway, we're in the right." "Okay." Lin Yan was also ruthless. He raised his hand and pulled down the gooseneck faucet at the side. He slapped Brother Bao a few times in the face. Brother Bao's face was covered in blood. He shouted, "Stop hitting me, stop hitting me. I'm Boss Luo's man from the One Heart Society. Stop hitting me, or else you'll have to bear the consequences. F***, you're still hitting me." Lin Yan slapped Brother Bao so hard that another tooth flew out. "You still dare to threaten us?" At this moment, Lin Muyu was punched in the back. It was the young man who was in charge of guarding the door. However, it only caused Lin Muyu's body to tremble slightly. The young man's fist was numb from the impact. His face was full of horror. Lin Muyu turned around and looked at him. She dragged her voice and said, "Scram." The gangster ran away quickly. Only Brother Bao and the other 2 gangsters were left lying on the ground, screaming in pain. One of the gangsters' gold chain was even broken. However, the Lin brothers didn't care about this at all. At most, they would have to pay for it. At this moment, Fei sobered up a little. She looked at the scary bathroom with her drunken eyes. "What happened?" "Nothing, a small situation." Soon, the bar's security arrived. 7 or 8 people surrounded the place. Even the bar staff called Ailey came. She said in surprise, "What happened?" "Someone called the police just now," Lin Yan said. "You saw it too." "There was a fight." "Of course I saw it. Why did you guys fight with Brother Bao?" When Lin Muyu heard her words, she felt that something was wrong. This Brother Bao must have a powerful background. Soon, the police car arrived. A few policemen came in and took away Lin Muyu, Lin Yan, Brother Bao, and the other people involved. Lin Muyu didn't resist. If they were taken away, then let them be. What a painful realization. Today, she finally had the feeling of being a playboy. Although she was going to be taken to the police station soon, it felt pretty good. Chapter 1107. Zujiawi Police Station, Recording Statements. The two brothers, Lin Yan and Lin Muyu, sat side by side and confessed to the fight. Brother Leopard was recording his statement not far away, looking very unruly. The person in charge of recording the statement was a female officer with long legs, a 34C body, and a pretty face. She was extremely patient as she recorded everything. Suddenly, she raised her head to look at Lin Muyu and said, "You're saying that your brother, Lin Ji, was attacked by the other party first, and you only retaliated after that, which is considered self-defense, right?" "That's pretty much it." Lin Muyu stretched her arms. "Are you saying that you can beat all 4 of them?" Looking at her doubtful face, Lin Muyu pursed her lips. "That's right." The policewoman looked at him deeply and smiled. "To be honest, I really don't believe it." "Yes, you can't believe it." Not far away, Brother Leopard, whose face was bruised and swollen, said angrily, "He used sorcery, yes, it must be sorcery, otherwise I wouldn't be so weak. If he dared to behave atrociously in my territory, he must be tired of living. Remember this, I promise to make you pay once I get out." Lin Muyu looked back and glared at him, smiling. "A dog that barks doesn't bite. Don't you think it's a dog that barks?" WQNMBSP. Brother Leopard directly cursed, his face flushed. "Just you wait and see." Lin Muyu frowned and said to the policewoman, "Officer, shouldn't you restrain this suspect?" The policewoman smiled apologetically. "I know, but he is currently using malicious language to attack others. If you don't mind, I can give you his recording just now. You can hire a lawyer to sue this person and ask for compensation." Lin Yan said, "Then sue him. We can't let them beat him up for nothing." "Brother, forget it." Lin Muyu said, "It's useless to sue this kind of person. Didn't he say that he will make us pay when we get out? I want to see how he will make me pay." "All right." At this time, a policeman came over and said to the policewoman, "Lu Ran, the 3 women outside want to bail Lin Yan and Lin Muyu out, but only one of them has an ID card. What do you think? Since someone wants to bail him out, let's just bail him out. It's not a big deal." Lu Ran smiled faintly, his eyes still looking deeply at Lin Muyu. He suddenly extended his hand and said, "My name is Lu Ran, number 1 in the police academy in unarmed combat. To be honest, I'm very interested in your skills. If it's possible, Lin Ji, I'd like to exchange a few blows with you. Do you have time?" Lin Muyu was in a dilemma. Lin Yan's heart skipped a beat. This Lu Ran was a super beauty, and she was in uniform. It was not good to offend her, so he said, "Beauty Lu Ran, my brother never fights with women. I think it's okay. Just make friends and exchange WeChat. Why do you have to resort to violence? Don't you think so?" Lu Ran couldn't help laughing, which attracted the attention of several police officers around her. But she quickly recovered her composure and said in a decent manner, "Okay, but we have a rule that we can't use WeChat during working hours, and we can't strike up a conversation, so I'm sorry. I hope the next time I see you, it won't be on this occasion." Of course. Lin Yan picked up his coat and stood up. "Then we'll go back?" Not far away, Brother Bao scolded fiercely, "You can't let them go. Damn, they beat my people and just let them go. You stinky police, do you know how to uphold justice?" "Shut up." Lu Ran suddenly turned around and shouted. After this beautiful police officer shouted, Brother Bao was stunned for a while. Just when Lin Yan and Lin Muyu were about to leave, a police officer suddenly came over and said, "Police Officer Lu Ran, wait a minute. Lin Yan and Lin Muyu can't leave for the time being." But Lu Ran was stunned. Because someone just sued them for intentional bodily harm, so. The police officer looked a little embarrassed and said, "Section Chief Zhang asked you to go to his office? Section Chief Zhang?" Lu Ran frowned and said to Lin Yan and Lin Muyu, "I'm sorry. You guys sit here for a while. I'll come back when I figure out what happened. I'm sorry." Of course, Lin Muyu knew that things were going to change. It seemed that someone was playing tricks on them. Outside the door, Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi looked inside angrily as if they would attack the police at any time. Lin Muyu hurriedly transmitted her voice through the door. "Xiao Yin, Xiao Shi, don't worry. Respect the judicial procedure here. Wait for me for a while. It won't be a big deal. At most, we'll sleep a little later tonight." Qin Yin pouted. "It's fine as long as it's fine. We'll wait for you." Not long after, Lu Ran came out of Section Chief Zhang's office with a gloomy face and said, "Lin Yan, Lin Ji, I'm sorry. The higher-ups are also under pressure. I'm afraid you'll have to stay here for the night." "What do you mean?" Lin Yan was a little impatient. "We didn't do it on purpose. There are so many witnesses and we can check the surveillance footage. Why must we stay overnight? I don't like beds and I can't sleep at your place." Lu Ran was very speechless. I really have no choice." Lin Muyu smiled slightly. "Your pressure comes from the Unity Society, right? What exactly did the One Heart Society do? Why does it look very evil?" Lu Ran moved her red lips and said, "The Unity Society is a charity organization in name. They collect donations from all over the world to help the needy areas. However, the person behind the scenes is not so simple. The president of the Unity Society is called Luo Zhan." Lu Ran lowered her voice and said, "He's a person who eats both sides of the law and the law. It's best not to provoke him. This person's network is very wide. I'm afraid that even Lin Yan and Lin Ji, with your background, it's best not to provoke this kind of person. Today's matter? I think it's better to make it a small matter. Compensate for the medical expenses and apologize to Su Wenbao. After all, it's better to avoid trouble. You two brothers just brought the girl out to have fun, right? You really look down on us." Lin Muyu smiled faintly. "Officer Lu, I don't care what this Unity Society is. Since they've provoked us, we can't just let it go. Just like what you said, if this Unity Society is black, I'll destroy it. If it's gray, I'll turn it white. It's that simple. I'll do what you police can't do." "You?" Lu Ran was a little speechless. "You're already an adult, yet you're still so chunibyu. How dare you say this kind of thing? Anyway, your attitude is good. That Su Wenbao isn't a good person. I'm also doing this for your own good. Looks like I'll have to change someone to bail me out." Lin Muyu took out her phone and walked to a corner to call Li Xiaoyao. "Linji, what's wrong?" "Xiaoyao, I got into trouble. Come to Suwei police station to bail me out." "Damn, did you kill someone?" "No, I got into a fight." "You scared me. I thought it was something big. Isn't it just a fight? I'll be right there." "Okay." Without letting Lin Muyu wait for too long, less than 10 minutes later, a military helicopter slowly landed on the lawn of the police station. Li Xiaoyao was wearing a Special Forces officer uniform. He walked in with Xing Lai and Fu Tu. The light shone on their military ranks. It was obvious that Li Xiaoyao was wearing a gold star, the rank of Major General of the Air Force. This guy was actually such a high-ranking official. This surprised Lin Muyu. After the chaos caused by the artificials, Li Xiaoyao had become a godlike existence in both the military and the police. How many people didn't know him? Therefore, the moment Li Xiaoyao entered the police station office, Lu Ran and a group of police officers stood up straight and saluted. "Hello, Chief." Li Xiaoyao nodded. "Well, what's going on? Why did you detain Lin Ji?" "Lin Ji?" Lu Ran was stunned. "Chief, you also know Lin Ji?" "Of course." Li Xiaoyao recognized her and said, "Lu Ran, tell me what's going on." According to the rules, this kind of minor fight can be released immediately after bail. Why did you detain Lin Ji and his brother Lin Yan? This. Lu Ran was a bit embarrassed. This is Chief Zhang's idea. He said, the higher-ups called and demanded that this matter cannot be resolved peacefully. The Lin brothers must be held accountable. This is simply nonsense. Zhang Ren is such a fool. Li Xiaoyao raised his eyebrows. Where is his office? The innermost room. It's his turn to be on duty today, but he should be asleep now. Then wake him up. Yes, Li Xiaoyao directly knocked on the door of Chief Zhang's office. The moment he saw Li Xiaoyao's face, the impatience on Zhang Ren's face instantly disappeared and was replaced with awe and fear. Li Xiaoyao, why are you here? I'm here to bail out two people. Lin Yan and Lin Ji are my friends. You can't detain them. This. Chief Zhang was full of helplessness. I can't do this. It's the higher-ups' decision. Tell me, who made that phone call? Zhejiang Provincial Hall. Okay, no need to say more. Li Xiaoyao reached out and took out a small notebook from his chest pocket, directly pressed it on the table and said, this is the work ID of Wang Lin, the Chief of Staff of the East China Regional Police Station. He forgot to leave it with me. Is the person in the provincial hall higher than him? If not, then prepare to release them. Chief Zhang didn't dare to say anything else. Okay, release them, release them. Don't be anxious, it's not as simple as just releasing them. Li Xiaoyao pressed his hand on the small notebook and looked at the other party with a cold gaze. I know, it's the Unity Society's doing. They want to mess with Lin Ji. Then, congratulations to them, they have offended my, Li Xiaoyao's, friend. Our Special Operations Team's Criminal Investigation Department will start investigating the Unity Society tomorrow. No one is to interfere with me. If someone from the higher-ups comes to plead for leniency, record down their name and tell them that I, Li Xiaoyao, am going to make my move. I'm going to pull out all these rotten radishes and chop them into pieces. Chief Zhang was extremely shocked. This subordinate understands. Looks like this matter is very big. Yes, this matter is very, very big. Chapter 1108. Outside the police station, the night wind blew. Do you want coffee? Li Xiaoyao asked. It's already past midnight. Do you not want to sleep anymore? Lin Yan glared at him. You still want coffee? Li Xiaoyao laughed. This is different. Lin Ji isn't as reliant on sleep as you are. Lin Muyu said, I'm afraid there's no place to drink coffee. There's only a place to drink alcohol. I know a place where we can drink coffee and it's not noisy. Li Xiaoyao said, do you want to join us? As he said this, Li Xiaoyao snapped his fingers. Tonight, I'll treat you all. We'll eat supper, drink coffee, soak in a hot spring, and stay in a 5-star hotel. Are you interested? Just say the word. Lin Yan raised his eyebrows, not knowing what Li Xiaoyao was planning. Fei Er sobered up and smiled. Yo, the great Xiaoyao Zizai is personally treating us. It's not easy for a cheapskate in Zhanlong. I have no choice but to give him face. Lin Mu said, that's fine too. Lead the way. Brother, give Dad a call and tell him we won't be going home tonight. And so, Li Xiaoyao, Xinglai, and Axe drove south for nearly an hour. After leaving the city, they took a few turns and entered a mountainous area. Not long after, they arrived at a manor-like resort. In the darkness of the night, they could vaguely make out the name of the resort, Veteran Resort. F***CK, what is this place? Lin Muyu asked. As the name suggests. Li Xiaoyao smiled. Normal people can't come here. Only veterans like us have the right to enter. Lin Muyu said, Xiaoyao, there must be a reason why you brought me here, right? Oh, that's right. Someone wants to see you. Let's chat later. Who? You'll know when you see him. He's already invited us for coffee. Okay. Seeing that Li Xiaoyao was being secretive and unwilling to say, Lin Muyu no longer asked. After parking the car, 2 young female staff led the group into the garden behind the hotel. Under the moonlight, a few very simple tables glowed faintly under the dim yellow light. On one side, another 2 beautiful female staff were brewing coffee. In addition, there were a few young men in suits guarding at the side. At a small table, there was an old man with white hair sitting there. He did not drink coffee, but only sipped on plain water. "Zhong, we're here," Li Xiaoyao greeted with a smile. The old man was wearing a long white gown and looked hale and hearty. He stood up and said with a smile, "Xiao Li, you are finally here. Come on, these coffees should be what you young people like. Find a place to sit down and make yourself at home." Li Xiaoyao gently knocked his head on Lin Muyu's shoulder and said in a low voice, "Let's go sit at a table with me and have a good chat with Zhong." Lin Muyu gestured for Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi to accompany Xing Lai and Lin Yan for coffee. Then she followed Li Xiaoyao to the other side, separated from the others, and the two young men sat upright. "I haven't asked, who is Zhong?" Lin Muyu couldn't help but ask with a belly full of doubts. Li Xiaoyao smiled faintly and said, "You really don't watch the news. Zhong is the former Minister of National Defense. Although he has retired to the second line, he is still in charge of national defense. So, half of my work is actually arranged by Zhong. The entire Guardian Special Forces is also built by Zhong. As for me, I can be considered as half a student of Zhong." "I see." Lin Muyu was a little more respectful and said with a smile, "Sorry for the disrespect, Zhong." "You're welcome." Zhong looked at the two juniors with a smile. His eyes were gentle, as if he was looking at two students. He said, "You young people are really amazing. Lin Ji, I heard from Li Xiaoyao that you are much more powerful than him?" Lin Muyu said modestly, "Xiaoyao thinks too highly of me. It's just that I'm just a little bit more powerful." Li Xiaoyao shrugged and said, "It should be very easy for Lin Ji to fight against 10 of me. I know this very well." "Don't praise me like that." Lin Muyu was a little embarrassed. Zhong smiled and nodded his head. There was a flash of surprise in his eyes. Lin Muyu didn't refute Li Xiaoyao's words. This meant that what Li Xiaoyao said was the truth. Originally, Li Xiaoyao's ability was already very amazing. Now there was someone even more powerful, and an uncontrollable powerful person. How could Zhong not be moved? "Last time, General Sun Xiang seemed to have mentioned to you, little friend Lin Ji, that he invited you to join the special forces?" Zhong said. "Yes, I rejected him." Lin Muyu said, "I'm lazy by nature. I'm afraid that I won't be able to control my temper and meet the requirements of the military." "Is that so?" Zhong squinted his eyes and looked at him. As if he could see through everything, he smiled and said, "But your words and actions, every move you make exudes the temperament of a soldier. Moreover, it's not the temperament of an ordinary soldier. It's the temperament of a person who has gone through hardships and killed on the battlefield. Such a talent is not as simple as a lazy personality." Lin Muyu couldn't help but laugh. Perhaps my previous caution and seriousness was forced by the situation. But in the future, I want to be more free and undisciplined. I don't want to be restricted by anything. Zhong sighed. "Little friend Lin Ji, do you really not want to join our Homeland Defense Army? As long as you're willing, I can give you the rank of Lieutenant General of the Air Force. Moreover, you don't need to be restricted by anything." Lin Muyu's voice became a little heavier. "It's precisely because of this rank that I'm restricted. Zhong, please understand this, junior." Elder Zhong smiled faintly as he took a sip of water from his cup before putting it down again. His eyes flashed with an indecipherable luster as he said, "The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. Lin Ji, you're blessed by the heavens. If you don't join the Homeland Defense, then you'll become a huge potential threat to the Homeland Defense. Do you understand what I mean?" "I know." Lin Muyu pursed his lips. "The country hopes to control me, just like how you control Xiaoyao." "Well, we don't control Xiaoyao," Zhong said. Li Xiaoyao touched his nose and said, "Lin Ji, Zhong doesn't mean that either." "I understand." Lin Muyu whispered. "It's just that Zhong needs to understand that I don't want to join the military. It doesn't mean that I don't want to contribute to the country. I'm a China citizen. I'll always be loyal to my country. As long as the country needs me, I'll serve the country at any time. I just don't want to put a shackle on my loyalty." "Oh," a trace of astonishment flashed through Elder Zhong's eyes. Then, it turned into admiration as he said, "That's right. A pure heart is more precious than anything else. You're right. Lin Muyu said, Xiaoyao and I are friends. Xiaoyao's business is my business. So, if Zhong really wants to give me fame and a title, it's better to give it to Xiaoyao. Let Xiaoyao have more power and help me solve the problems I want to solve. Zhong couldn't help but laugh. You mean Xiaoyao? Sigh. This kid has extraordinary aptitude. He's already an active major general at such a young age. If he gets promoted again, he'll be a lieutenant general. I'm afraid it'll be hard to convince the public. Xiaoyao has made so many contributions. I don't think it's too much to give him the rank of general. His ability and contributions have nothing to do with his age. Li Xiaoyao touched his nose and said, I'm not here today to ask for an official position. Besides, I don't really want to be an official. Zhong, let's get down to business. Zhong nodded. Is it about Luo Zhan and the Unity Society? Yes. Li Xiaoyao took a deep breath. The Unity Society is like a poisonous radish. They buy land from the government and expand in the name of charity and business. But they're secretly involved in all kinds of profiteering and illegal industries. I've long wanted to uproot the Unity Society. This time, with Lin Ji's help, I'm more confident. But I need Zhong's head first. Zhong was a little absent-minded. He said, it's a good thing that young people want to do big things. But it's fine if the poisonous radish isn't uprooted. Once it's uprooted, it'll bring a lot of mud with it. Xiaoyao, have you ever thought about how much turmoil this will cause? Li Xiaoyao said, they're just a group of national parasites. So what if I get rid of them? Why should I care so much about it? I can use all kinds of methods, even assassination. The Unity Society has one leg in the local government and the other in the underworld. Since it's like this, I'll completely eradicate the underworld. Let's see how they can walk with only one leg left. Eradicate the underworld? Li Xiaoyao raised his hand. Xing Lai, who was behind him, handed over a document. Li Xiaoyao unfolded the document and passed it to Zhong. He said, the underworld exists because it's attached to the underworld. This is a list of 17 gangs that are attached to the Unity Society. Some are big, some are small. They're spread across more than 40 large and medium-sized cities. As long as I give the order, the purge will begin. The protectors of the various cities will cooperate. Give me a pen, Zhong said. A secretary handed over a pen. Zhong immediately signed his name at the end of Li Xiaoyao's document. He pushed the document back to Li Xiaoyao and said with a smile, if you want to do it, just do it. If you think it's the right thing to do, I'll fully support you. Thank you, Zhong. Li Xiaoyao happily kept the document and gave it to Xing Lai for safekeeping. Xiaoyao. Zhong called out softly. What's the matter, Zhong? What are you planning by doing this? Zhong leaned back in his chair. His face showed a trace of fatigue. Li Xiaoyao was stunned. He smiled and said, I don't know either. But if I have to say, then I'll just say it's for justice. The only way to stop good people from being bullied is to get rid of the bad guys. And I'm the bad guy who gets rid of the bad guys. Zhong didn't say anything. He just stood up and put on his jacket. He smiled and said, then I'll leave everything to you. Also, I'll leave the hunting fish plan to you. From today onwards, you can command Sun Xiang and Wang Lin. Li Xiaoyao was stunned. Zhong walked a few steps and turned back. He smiled and said, the hot spring here isn't bad. You guys can soak in it. My old bones can't take it anymore. I'm going to sleep. What's the hunting fish plan? Lin Muyu asked. Li Xiaoyao let out a light breath. He lowered his voice and said, hunting a big fish. Chapter 1109. What's a big fish? Lin Muyu asked. Li Xiaoyao smiled mysteriously, took a sip of his coffee, and said, the invincible existence that gallops across the sea is a big fish. Invincible on the sea, Lin Muyu frowned and lowered her voice. That's an aircraft carrier. Do you want to make a move against the 7th Fleet in the South China Sea during the military exercise? Is it true? It's not necessarily the 7th Fleet. Li Xiaoyao's gaze became fiery and he said, the M nation's navy is too strong. We don't have an absolute chance of winning a head-on confrontation, so we can't beat the big brother, but we can always teach the little brother a lesson. The ships of both countries can be included in our plan. Our purpose is just to make a show of force and let the M nation know their limits. Do you need my help? If we plan to make a move against the M nation, then we will definitely need your help. What's your plan specifically? A suicide plan? Damn, seriously. Li Xiaoyao laughed and lowered his voice again and said, Lin Ji, do you know about martial arts? A little bit. Unlike martial arts used for shows, martial arts has real lethality. That's right. Li Xiaoyao glanced at Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Lin Yan, and the others in the distance and said, in the past few years, I have been in contact with a lot of martial arts experts. 2 of them have the strength of the Yang Yen realm, and there are also some experts of the Qi-controlling realm, a total of more than a dozen people. According to the higher-ups, I plan to form a special action team to deter the demonstration exercise in the South China Sea with the strength of people. It would be best if we can destroy a few frigates or something. Lin Muyu couldn't help but laugh. Li Xiaoyao's hair stood on end from his laughter, and he felt uncertain in his heart. Damn, what are you laughing at? Lin Muyu's eyes turned solemn. Xiaoyao, it's not that I'm looking down on you, but, tell me honestly, how deep can your sword penetrate the reinforced iron plates of the warship? Air. Li Xiaoyao pursed his lips. At most, 1 to 2 meters. If I do it a few more times, I will have no problems cutting down a frigate. The premise is that the soldiers on the frigate won't shoot you. Lin Muyu's words hit the nail on the head. If they notice and start shooting, you'll need to divert some of your strength to maintain the protective upstanding qi. In that case, you won't be able to penetrate the multi-layered steel plates of a frigate within 10 attacks, right? Not to mention those larger warships, their isolation armor is extraordinarily thick. That's right. Li Xiaoyao took a deep breath and said, that's why I can't even consider attacking the carrier. That's even more dangerous. Using manpower to fight against such a huge war machine is a fantasy in itself. Not to mention that it's only flesh and blood at the moment. If I'm not wrong, Xiaoyao, you just want to hunt those small boats that are sailing alone, and they're from country Y. You saw through me. Li Xiaoyao spread his hands. But there's no other way. We can only use this method to attack our opponents. Otherwise, our territorial integrity in the South China Sea will just be empty talk. If you need me, I'll help you. It's a deal. Lin Muyu thought about the South China Sea and said, coincidentally, I also have something to do in the South China Sea. Oh, what is it? Can you tell me? Summon an army sleeping in the depths of the South China Sea. What? An army? Li Xiaoyao's eyes widened. How is that possible? There's an army sleeping at the bottom of the sea. Could it be a nuclear submarine force? That's not right. According to my understanding, we don't have submarines performing missions at the edge of the South China Sea. It's another army. Lin Muyu smiled and said, the Ganggang Navy, 30,000 people, each with strength similar to yours. My God, Li Xiaoyao was completely shocked. There's really such a group of monsters sleeping at the bottom of the South China Sea? That's right. But Xiaoyao, you don't have to worry. These people are just soldiers. Compared to you, they don't have your talent, nor do they have your unique conditions. In the future, your realm will definitely far surpass theirs. Lin Ji, I really can't see through you anymore. When will this fishing plan be carried out? Lin Muyu asked. Within a week. That's good. There's still time to soak in the hot spring. Haha, are you going to bring Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi? It just so happens that there are private rooms for couples. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi had lived in the Broken Cauldron realm for a long time, so they didn't know about hot springs. There were few hot springs in the Broken Cauldron realm, and the girls in the Broken Cauldron realm were naturally shy and unwilling to undress in nature. However, Lin Muyu had seen Tang Xiaoxi bathing in the river, and she still couldn't forget it. Hearing that they could take a hot bath like this, the girls were all very happy. After Li Xiaoyao arranged for everyone to stay in the hotel rooms of the resort, they began to gather and went to the hot spring bath in the middle of the night. Lin Muyu accompanied his 2 wives to change clothes. In fact, it was just a simple bath towel. After waiting for a while, Lin Muyu saw the 2 beauties walk out with bath towels wrapped around their bashful appearances. For a moment, he was stunned. In these years, the biggest change that Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi had changed was that their figures had matured a lot. The short bath towels wrapped around their bodies made people's blood boil. It was simply impossible not to think about it. I heard that they will take a bath together? Fei also walked out. There are some fake mountains in the way, but they definitely won't be able to block us, Lin Muyu said. Fei giggled. I believe in the character of the 3 kings of gaming. Let's take a bath together. Can we? Lin Muyu looked at his 2 wives. Qin Yin gently nodded. In any case, I'll follow you. Tang Xiaoxi smiled. I'm fine with it. Fortunately, the fog in the hot spring was very thick, so it was almost impossible to see their figures. Lin Muyu brought Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi to a corner of the hot spring. Immediately, the moderate temperature made them feel extremely comfortable. Along with the sound of the water, Li Xiaoyao and Lin Yan also came over. They were chatting with Fei. Lin Muyu looked at Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi and asked, "How do you feel?" The 2 girls looked at him with wide eyes and nodded in unison. Very comfortable, Lin Muyu took a closer look. Tang Xiaoxi was lying in the hot spring, a faint fiery glow appearing on the surface of her body, merging with the ripples of the water. It was as if she was naturally formed. The overgod of the law of fire was indeed different. Her exceptional ability to comprehend was something that no ordinary god could compare to. Meanwhile, Qin Yin was leaning against Lin Muyu's side, a faint layer of golden light surrounding her, protecting her body from being seen by others. For a moment, it was a beautiful sight to behold. Lin Muyu lowered her head and kissed Qin Yin on the cheek, then turned around and kissed Tang Xiaoxi. She smiled and said, "You 2 stay here for a while longer. I'm going to find Li Xiaoyao and talk business." And so Lin Muyu swam over, and Lin Yan also greeted, "Xiao Ji, come over and brag. Don't spend all day with your girlfriend." "Brother, what are you guys talking about?" Lin Muyu leaned against a bamboo on the shore, half of her body submerged in the water. Lin Yan looked at his little brother's strong physique and was a bit shocked. "Good boy, you've been training well for so many years. You even have an 8-pack. You're almost as strong as that guy Li Xiaoyao." Li Xiaoyao laughed and said to himself as he fetched water, "This place is so comfortable. If I had known earlier, I would have brought one, and Dongqing here. Io, Mengyao and Shuero are coming back this weekend too. I'm going to be so busy." Lin Muyu said, "Xiaoyao, after you obtained the immortal forged fate, did you realize that your flame power is too strong? Your butterfly sword almost can't handle it." "How did you know?" Li Xiaoyao was a bit shocked. A few times, the butterfly sword was almost completely melted. Actually, it's a bit deformed now. I'm having a headache about how to solve this problem. Ordinary iron is just ordinary iron. It can't handle divine power, not to mention your pure divine power. Later, I'll look in my space bag and see if there's a sword that's suitable for you." "What are you guys talking about?" Fei looked confused. At this moment, Qin Yin said, "Brother Yu, Li Xiaoyao is your friend. If he treats you well, why don't you give him the star's sword?" "That's fine. Xiao Yin, throw the sword over." "Okay." Qin Yin stretched out her hand and waved it gently. She immediately took out the star's sword from her space bag. It shone brightly like the stars in the sky and pierced into the rock behind Lin Muyu and Li Xiaoyao with a clang. Sparks flew everywhere. 1/3 of the sword's blade was pierced into the rock, and the delicate and majestic hilt was slowly vibrating in the air. "How is it? Do you like it?" Lin Muyu asked with a smile. Fei almost fainted. "Where did Xiao Yin get this sword?" "Damn, what kind of people are you? I really don't understand you." Li Xiaoyao, on the other hand, was so excited that his face was flushed. He reached out to touch it and felt a majestic force coming from the sword. It was as if it had a spirit. He slowly pulled out the star's sword and said with a trembling voice, It's a divine weapon." Lin Muyu said in a low voice, Xiaoyao, there's a sword soul sealed in this sword. It's a senior that I respect very much. He was persecuted by a villain and turned into a sword soul. Therefore, there's an elder that lives in this sword. I hope you can treat this sword well and not use it to do anything you want. Li Xiaoyao nodded with a determined look. Don't worry. I, Li Xiaoyao, am a magnanimous person. I've never done anything shameful, not now, and not in the future. That's good. I'm relieved. Li Xiaoyao happily caught the hilt of the sword that Qin Yin threw at him from afar. He put away the star's sword and buried his body in the hot spring again. He smiled and said, Lin Ji, what about you? What have you experienced? I'm not as magnanimous as you. Lin Muyu seemed to be a little depressed. She raised her head and leaned against the hot spring. She looked at the stars in the sky and said, The world is unpredictable. In order to protect the things that I care about, I've already done many things that go against my conscience. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked this. Li Xiaoyao said apologetically. Lin Muyu smiled. It's okay. I don't regret anything that I've done. People are always so complicated. We have to make choices, and the path that I chose is the one that's closest to justice. As for the rest, there's no other way. Okay. Chapter 11:10. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed in the Shattered Cauldron realm. Lanyan City was as peaceful and prosperous as usual. When the stars rose, the land was illuminated by the lanterns, painting a beautiful scene. In the side hall of Zetian Palace, a group of generals sat around a huge round table, staring at each other coldly. No one said a word, just waiting for the person sitting on the easternmost seat to speak. That person held his chin with his hand, snoring thunderously. General Feng. Murong Tianxing suddenly shouted. Ah? Feng Jixing was startled and almost fell to the ground. He hurriedly wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth and asked, What's wrong? What did you guys talk about? Nangong Lai held back his laughter and teased, You actually have the mood to sleep in a pre-war meeting? I can't help but admire you. General Feng's heart is as broad as the sea. Isn't Yangshang's army not here yet? There's no hurry. Feng Jixing glanced at the crowd and said seriously, The Tongtian province, the 8 Desolation province, the Lingdong province, and the Lingkong province in the east have all been set up. It is guaranteed that nothing will go wrong. At the same time, I have also sent many gods to patrol the East Sea. Once Yangshang's people come, we will know in advance. Now, it seems that we are just waiting for Yangshang to make his move. Why don't we take the initiative to attack? Feng Zhanlin raised his eyebrows and said, With the power of our Dragon League, defeating Yangshang's 60,000 celestial army is not a problem at all. Plus, we have the help of 8,000 celestial soldiers. Feng Jixing shook his head and said, Acting rashly will only result in being controlled by others. Even if we win, it will be a Pyrrhic victory. It is better to wait for you to come back before making a decision. Moreover, you have already lost 10 to 20% of your cultivation from the divine realm. So, the most important thing now is to quickly restore your strength. While talking, Feng Jixing's eyes fell on a spot on the map in the center of the table and continued, The East Sea is the best place for us to start the final battle, and the final battle needs you use 30,000 Gong Gong Navy warriors. What do you think? Nangong Lai smiled and said, You're still the best when it comes to war. I'm a crude person, so I won't say so much. Zhang Wei immediately laughed. If we're talking about being rough, I think Commander Nangong is definitely not as rough as me. Nangong Lai touched his nose. You filthy guy. Feng Jixing stood up and said in a steady voice, Then today's meeting will end here. Everyone, go back and cultivate. Weichou, stay here. I have something to tell you. Everyone dispersed, leaving only Weichou, Sidu Sen, Sidu Shui, and a few other generals of the Dragon's Courage army. What's wrong, General Feng? Weichou asked. How's the construction of the warships going? The 7 large shipyards along the river are all working hard, and we have enough funds. In 2 months tops, we will have over 1,000 warships. Don't worry, General Feng. That's good. Feng Jixing nodded, smiled and said, "Kid, how's your practice of the Ho Bao?" Wei Chou took a deep breath and said, "With Lord Candledragon's guidance, I've been improving pretty fast. Although I can't shoot with 1,000 steps, but at least I've made some progress. Come, let me have a look." Feng Jixing pointed at the outside of the side hall and said, "There are lanterns hanging on the eaves of the main hall, pick one." "It's quite far, at least 300 steps." Sidu Shui stuck out her tongue. Wei Chou smiled and did not say anything. With a raise of his hand, a fiery red light condensed into the image of the Ho Bao, and he pulled the bowstring. Immediately, the sound of the bowstring being pulled could be heard. Streams of demonic energy flowed from Wei Chou's arm into the bowstring, transforming into a shooting sun arrow. Wei Chou's aim was extremely fast, and the moment he pulled the bowstring, he released the arrow. Shwa! The arrow flew out, and immediately, a lantern in the distance fell to the ground. The energy form of the shooting sun arrow continued to move forward after shooting the lantern and pierced a hole in the glazed roof. Its power was extremely shocking. "Not bad," Feng Jixing praised. "The power of an ancient divine weapon is indeed extraordinary. With such lethality, Wei Chou, what level of opponents do you think you can kill?" Wei Chou frowned and said, "My current cultivation is at level 27 Grotto Heaven. With Senior Candledragon's help, I might be able to break through in a short period of time. Once I step into the God King realm, I believe I can easily kill gods below level 80 Grotto Heaven." "Good." Feng Jixing clapped his hands and said, "If we really start a war with the Great Shang of the Celestial Pole Continent, you only need to be responsible for killing the gods within range. One arrow for one is the best. I will send 10 God Emperors to protect you, and no one will be able to get close to you. What do you think?" Wei Chou was stunned. "General Feng, are you serious? Do you think I'm joking?" "Thank you, General Feng." Wei Chou cupped his fists and said, "Since General Feng thinks highly of me, I definitely won't disappoint General Feng. I dare not say I can kill 1,000 gods, but as long as I have enough conditions to draw my bow, killing 100 gods is not a problem. In terms of archery, I believe that no one in the world can be better than me, Wei Chou. Moreover, the Ho Bao that His Highness you bestowed to me is a well-deserved ancient divine weapon." "Good lad." Feng Jixing patted Wei Chou's shoulder and said with a smile, "I like your arrogant and condescending temperament." Cough, cough. At the side, Citizen coughed a few times. "Stop flattering each other. I have something to tell you." "Well, go ahead." Over the past month, many gods in the Dragon League have bought houses in Lanyan City, and some have even married and had children. It's common for them to fight each other. Do you know about this, General Feng?" "Yes, sir." Feng Jixing was a little surprised. "What's wrong?" Situ-san thought for a while and said, "The Dragon League is becoming more and more hostile. Many gods don't take the people in the mortal world seriously at all. They are all arrogant. Dare I ask, General Feng, do you think gods should be like this? These ruffian guys run amok in Lanyan City. How can they look like demigods?" "Gods have fallen long ago," Feng Jixing said thoughtfully. "From the moment Luolan helped the Iha nation rebel, gods no longer have mercy. The word God is just a synonym for power." Citizen continued, "Maybe so. For the past month, Xiao Han of the Fire Sparrow Division has been busy. There are many cases of gods bullying the weak almost every day. Fire Sparrow Division has more than 3,000 constables deployed every day, but it's still not enough. They even have to mobilize the troops of the Longdan Army Camp and the Imperial Army to coordinate. This is not a long-term strategy after all. I will let Feng Lin, Nangong Lai, Murong Tianxing, and other leaders restrain their subordinates. This matter is settled for the time being." Feng Jixing looked at Sidu-sen and continued, "General Sen, what's the situation in the Celestial Pole Continent?" "It's even worse." Situ-sen said lightly, "This is the only good news. Ever since Yangshang became the emperor of the Celestial Pole Continent, his 60,000 Protoss troops have been eroding the land of the Celestial Pole Continent like a swarm of locusts. Without Yangshang's restraint, these Protoss soldiers have plundered everywhere, oppressed the people, and taken advantage of the women. It's already a mess. The people are full of complaints, but Yang Shang still ignores them. He is only reluctant to leave the harem and never stops having fun every night. The people of the celestial pole continent are suffering. Feng Jixing punched the table and said, "How can these people be gods? They are no different from beasts." "Don't worry about it. Starting from tomorrow, I will personally supervise the behavior of the Protoss soldiers of the Dragon League. Then I can rest assured." Sidusan cupped his fists and said, "Then General Feng, please continue with your work. I will go and inspect the military affairs." "You have worked hard." At this time, in the depths of the dragon-seeking forest in the northeast of Lanyan City, the dragon burial ground was silent. Beams of starlight shone down from between the mottled leaves of the forest and landed on the dragon bones. Faint wisps of spiritual energy rose up, but when the spiritual energy rose halfway, it suddenly dispersed as if it was blown away by the wind, turning into nothingness. "Huh!" Under the tree, a white-haired old man couldn't help but be suspicious. He flew up and frowned. "What's going on? Why can't the dragon power sublimate on its own?" This old man was none other than Chu Chu, who had been cultivating outside for a long time. He was Lin Muyu's first teacher. Now Chu Chu was glowing. He had already stepped into the God Emperor realm. He held a white jade-like walking stick in his hand and slowly landed on the ground. He walked forward on the grass of the dragon tomb, only to find that the flowers around him were gradually withering. They had begun to wither even before the flowering period was over, and the spirit herbs were also dispirited and listless. The entire guardian forest of the dragon tomb was covered in a layer of death aura. Looking up into the sky, invisible wisps of spiritual energy were dissipating in the wind. There was a faint feeling of the wind howling. The vital chi of heaven and earth is disappearing. Chu Chu's body trembled slightly. What happened? He slowly bent down and opened his palm. Wisps of natural divine power slowly gathered and seeped into a withering flower. "Bloom and be reborn. Your life shouldn't have ended like this." The flower slowly raised its head as if it had been given a new life and bloomed. However, Chu Chu's forehead was covered in sweat. Soon, the flower withered again and withered. In the distance, a wolf's howl could be heard. It was the swift wolf. The swift wolf had never dared to go near the dragon tomb because of the presence of the dragon's might. But now that the swift wolf had appeared, it could only mean one thing. The vast dragon power was also weakening. Even the swift wolf, an inferior creature, dared to covet the spirit energy of the dragon tomb. Chu Chu stood up and looked around the forest with a pair of bright eyes. There, wisps of spiritual energy flew up and dissipated, disappearing in the blink of an eye. It was as if an extremely strong death aura was invading the earth. Something big was about to happen. The power of the laws is weakening. The order is disappearing. What happened? Chu Chu stood there dejectedly, not knowing what was happening. Chapter 11:11. The birth of Pangu, the birth of heaven and earth, and the birth of the universe. A new order was established, and the heavenly Tao reincarnated, forming 6 central realms in the universe: 8 Wastelands Realm, 6 Harmony Realm, Underworld Realm, Chaos Realm, Palace Realm, and Spiritual Movement Realm. Among them, the Eastern Divine Realm controlled 3, the Western Divine Realm controlled 2, and the Northern Divine Realm controlled the last one, the Underworld Realm. In the southwest of the universe, where heaven and earth were born, it was barren everywhere. This was the end of the universe, and also the end of the world. There was nothingness everywhere, and only a ray of light could be seen. The light came from the light of the beginning of chaos. Chaos ended here, and so did the world. In the sky, a towering boulder floated in the universe. On the boulder was a beautiful girl holding a long sword. Her facial features were exquisite, and there was some doubt in her eyes. She sat on the boulder, faintly looking at the ray of light in the distance. Eva, one of the 2 blazing angels of the Western Divine Realm. After Shi Yen descended to the mortal world, Eva had become one of the greatest rulers of the Western Divine Realm. Sush, in the distance, A beam of light flew out and landed gently behind Eva. It was a radiant angel. He knelt down respectfully and said, "Subordinate Hui Mang greets Lady Eva." "Hui Mang, what's the matter?" Eva didn't even turn her head. Hui Mang said, "There's news from the celestial pole continent. The Yangshang army and the Dragon League army of the Eastern Divine Realm have formed a standoff on both sides. A divine war may break out at any time, so Lord Ruler has ordered me to invite Lady Blazing Angel back to the Spirit Palace to discuss important matters." "Discuss important matters?" Eva frowned. "Lord Ruler can't be thinking of attacking the Eastern Divine Realm again, right? Now that Lin Muyu has returned, the Seven Luminaries Demon Emperor is like a tiger that has grown wings. We have no strength to deal with the Eastern Divine Realm." "That's not the case." Hui Mang said, "As far as I know, Lord Ruler has joined forces with the Supreme of the Dark World of the Southern Divine Realm and is ready to deal a fatal blow to the Dragon League of the Celestial Pole Continent. At the same time, of subduing the traitor Shi Yen in the Shattered Cauldron Realm." "Ruler still holds a grudge against Sister Haiyan?" Doll absent-mindedly stared into the distance before she said, "Hui Mang, go back and tell the ruler that I have the heavy responsibility of guarding the primal chaos realm. Furthermore, Shi Ming seems to be extremely anxious as of late. If the seal of the Six Realms collapses, I'm afraid that this world will be destroyed along with it." The Western God Realm. The Western God Realm has protected the lives of all living beings for so many years, so we definitely can't afford to make any mistakes. "Do I have to repeat myself, Hui Mang?" Hui Mang looked troubled. "Lord Blazing Angel, before I left, the world of World Saint has been sealed for nearly 100,000 years. It won't happen now either. Lord Blazing Angel, staying here is just a waste of time. On the contrary, the God Realm needs your strength more. I've said it before. Do I have to repeat myself?" A hint of anger appeared on Eva's face. "I don't dare." Hui Mang knelt down again. At this moment, the roar of a giant beast that shook the universe suddenly came from behind him. Roar, roar, roar. Eva turned around quickly and looked at the dark world of chaos in front of her in shock. Her eyes were filled with worry. "Realm of World Saint, what's wrong?" As she spoke, she opened her palm. Immediately, a ray of light shot into the sky like a star, illuminating the chaotic world in front of her. There, a huge creature lay in the darkness. Its body was dozens of miles long, and its mouth was closed. Light shone out from its closed mouth. Shi Ming, an ancient giant beast, the guardian of chaos. Legend had it that it had once devoured the entire dark demon realm and sealed all the evil energy in its body. Shi Ming seemed to be in great pain. He twisted his huge body and tried to open his mouth. He even spat out wisps of dark blue flames from his mouth. These were extremely strong demonic flames that came from another world. Light flickered and golden runes appeared above Shi Ming's mouth to form a shield. At this time, the runes had already cracked a little. "The seal of the Six Realms." Nu Awa shuddered and said, "Oh no, the power of the demon realm is attacking the seal of the Six Realms. Once the seal of the Six Realms is destroyed, I'm afraid the world will fall into an unprecedented calamity. What are you waiting for? Return to the God Realm immediately and tell the World Saint that the seal is in danger. I will stand guard here and ask the World Saint to come immediately." "Yes, Lord Eva." Hui Mang didn't dare say anything else. He turned and flew into the darkness. Roar, roar, roar. Shi Ming's roar became more and more desperate. He shook his huge head, but he couldn't get rid of the great pain coming from his body. Strands of blue flame spurted out from his mouth and formed a huge humanoid figure. It was a man from the devil world with a battle axe in his hand. He had 2 sharp horns on his head and his entire body was blue. He stared straight at Shirwa and laughed. "Is there no one else in the divine world? Only a delicate little girl was sent here to guard the seal of the Six Realms?" Clang. Eva pulled out her sword and said with a cold look in her eyes, "Evil creature, if you want to break the seal of the Six Realms, you'll have to get past me first." The light from the blade soared into the sky. Eva's sword slashed down, forcing the giant's battle axe to retreat. He retreated a lot, and a lot of energy even returned to the giant beast's mouth. You can't destroy me with just this. He laughed wildly and swung the battle axe in his hand. Nua's stature was petite, but she was nimble and ever-changing. Like lightning, she refracted a few times in the air. She stepped on the handle of the battle axe and rushed forward. The sharp sword was quickly thrust into the mouth of the Devil Realm giant. Rays of light burst out and directly smashed the Devil Realm giant's face into pieces. Shoo! Amidst the shrill cry, the blue energy returned to the Nether Servant's mouth, but the runes on the Six Realms seal had been greatly damaged, and the characters were constantly disappearing. It seemed that the seal wouldn't be able to last much longer. Good can't defeat evil. You'll regret this. A hoarse voice came from the demon realm. At the same time, blue flames appeared and condensed into a huge arm that smashed the seal of the Six Realms in the giant beast's mouth. Damn it, Hua flew up, and her sword flashed repeatedly, chopping the blue arm into pieces. However, this would not be able to last for long. After all, her divine power would be exhausted, while the power of the devil world seemed to be endless. The huge arm swept across and smashed into Eva's back. The powerful blazing angel groaned and spat out blood as she retreated hundreds of meters. She turned around and saw more power of the demon realm surging out of the giant beast's mouth. Eva gritted her teeth and murmured with a pained expression, "I'm a blazing angel. I'm the protector of the righteous path. I won't allow you to destroy the seal of the Six Realms." Light shot into the sky and her 6 wings flickered. She raised her sword and pounced over again. It was as if her small figure had fallen into the sea. Shattered Cauldron Realm. In the depths of the dragon-seeking forest to the north of Lanyan City, there was a small wooden house on the mountainside. The wooden house was covered with weeds, and it was surrounded by a fence made of bamboo. The fence formed a circle around the house. A pomegranate tree in the yard had already borne red fruits, and a few little rabbits were running on the ground. A beautiful figure descended from the sky with a bamboo basket. She had a refreshing smile on her face. "Little rabbit, be good? Come here quickly. Big sister has brought delicious food for you." The little white rabbit ran over and circled around her legs, cheering. Xian's face was full of smiles. She deeply loved this kind of peaceful life. However, when she saw the little white rabbit chewing on the weeds, her heart suddenly trembled violently as if she had lost something. A familiar aura was disappearing. Xian stood up and looked in the direction of the celestial pole in the west. Her shoulders trembled and tears flowed out of her eyes. Eva, without practically the slightest hesitation, her feet suddenly stomped on the ground, and her figure shot into the sky. In the blink of an eye, she'd vanished in the horizon while numerous golden talisman markings fluttered in the sky, and it was the sign of an expert at the God-rank realm ascension. 8 Desolate Realm. Auspicious clouds lingered in the sky and the land was green. 8 jagged stone pillars stood between the sky and the earth, supporting the balance of this world. The Bahuang pillar was built by goddess Nua in the past. It was a pillar that supported half of the world. There was a melodious tune between the pillars, and one could faintly hear singing. Although it was not very pleasant to the ears, it had a unique flavor. "I'm in a good mood today. No wine, no good night. I know the universe, and I'm carefree as well as Xiaoyao." Among the auspicious clouds, a person stepped on the clouds. It was the golden-armored 7 luminaries demon emperor. He would never break the monthly patrol of the 8 Desolate Realm. This was the responsibility of a supreme martial artist. At this time, Xiao should be in the 6 Harmony Realm, while Sun Feng should be in the Middle Palace Realm. They were both performing their respective duties. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Suddenly, the sky and the earth trembled violently. Cracks appeared on the nearby Bahuang pillar. Huge pieces of colorful stones even fell down. It was a shocking scene. The 7 luminaries demon emperor hurriedly flew to the bottom of the Bahuang pillar. He opened his palm and a huge palm appeared to hold the pillar. He shouted, "Baby, don't move around. I'll panic if you move." Under the protection of his godly power, The Bahuang pillar only trembled a little. Then it was safe. Clap, clap. The 7 luminaries demon emperor clapped his hands. Although he said that, he was already frowning. He mumbled, "What's going on? There seems to be some movement. Something must have happened in the southwest." Whoosh! A golden figure quickly appeared in front of him. It was Xiao. "Oh, beautiful Xiao, tell me. What's the matter?" The 7 luminaries demon emperor looked at her frivolously. Xiao frowned. "Demon emperor, be serious. I've always been serious with you. I told you to be serious." Xiao's almond-shaped eyes widened. "Something has happened in the 6 harmony world. I can sense a strong demonic aura emerging. At the same time, everything is withering. Spirited Mountain is slowly losing its vitality. I've observed the mortal world. It's the same situation as us. Whether it's spring or summer, it's already entering winter in advance. I know. The world is in chaos." The 7 luminaries demon emperor looked at her and said, "We are gods. We must maintain our sense of propriety. Go and tell Sun Feng to send 30,000 celestial soldiers into the mortal worlds of the major planes to pacify the people. No matter what happens, we must protect the people." "Yes." Xiao's face showed some admiration. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared. The 7 luminaries demon emperor looked at the white clouds in the sky. He sighed and said, "The celestial world is in chaos. Killing is rampant. Damned heavens. Finally, even an honest man like you can't stand it anymore? Fine. Whatever will come will come." Chapter 11-12. Shanghai, 3rd of October. The weather had suddenly become abnormally cold, so much so that it was snowing heavily in the early morning. How strange! Lin Yan stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window with a cup of hot tea in his hands, watching the snowflakes falling on the wooden planks of the balcony. He clicked his tongue and said, "It's snowing in October. The weather this year is really abnormal." Lin Muyu reclined on the sofa and moved the magazine away to glance outside the window. "It's not abnormal, it's inexplicable. The leaves had already turned yellow before it started snowing. According to previous years, the leaves wouldn't have turned yellow during this season." "Yeah." Lin Yan said, "Xiao Ji, you're a god. You should know why this is happening, right?" "Actually, I don't know either. Who told you that a god is omnipotent and omniscient?" Lin Muyu flipped over and stood up. "But I do feel that the power of the Great Law is weakening." Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi looked up at the same time. Lin Yan was a little surprised. "The power of the Great Law is weakening. What does that mean?" "The power of a god comes from nature, from the laws and elements. Once the laws disappear, the power of a god will also disappear." Lin Muyu's eyes were cold. "I have a feeling that this matter isn't that simple. Maybe my dad's wish can be fulfilled. I'll continue living on Earth as a mortal." Lin Yan curled his lips. "Are you going to the company today?" "No, I've arranged a mission with Li Xiaoyao today." "What mission?" "Arrest the boss of the One Heart Society, Luo Zhan." "No way? Why not? It should be in the papers tomorrow." After breakfast, Lin Muyu went directly to the secret base. When she arrived, Li Xiaoyao and the others were already ready. They were all dressed in special police uniforms. There were 7 cars with nearly 100 people. Such a big lineup? Lin Muyu was a little surprised. Li Xiaoyao smiled faintly and said, "The boss of the One Heart Society. Do you think it will be that easy to arrest him? Just wait, there might be an intense gunfight this morning." "Damn, why is it snowing now? The weather this year is so strange." It seemed that Li Xiaoyao had yet to feel the weakening of his divine power. Or perhaps he had progressed too quickly and neglected this weakening. Lin Muyu and Li Xiaoyao were in the same car, and Li Xiaoyao was driving. These cars were all military vehicles, and they just passed by with great fanfare. It seemed that they didn't care if Luo Zhan would notice anything. The snow was getting heavier and heavier, as if it was hiding something for this battle. The wheels of the car in front left a trail in the snow as it drove towards the suburbs at a moderate speed. Are you sure that Luo Zhan is in Shanghai? Lin Muyu asked. Very sure. Li Xiaoyao smiled confidently and said, Last night, Luo Zhan just flew back from Beijing to Shanghai, and he is staying in a private residence. Our intelligence system is very accurate, so don't worry. That's good. Lin Muyu looked at the sky outside the window again. It was snowing heavily, and this was not a good sign. Lin Ji, do you want a gun? Xing Lai asked with a smile on his face from the back seat. Oh, what do you have? Pick one yourself. Xing Lai opened a box, and there were all kinds of guns in it, most of which were pistols. Lin Muyu couldn't help but be amused. Actually, her marksmanship was not bad. After all, she was a hedonistic son of a wealthy family. Back then, she had practiced her marksmanship in the shooting range quite a bit. She raised her hand and took a gun from the box. Then she grabbed some bullets and stuffed them into her pocket. She said, I'm not returning it, it's a memento. Xing Lai laughed and said, As long as you're happy. More than an hour later, the car drove into a mountainous area. There were fewer and fewer residents in the distance. Obviously, such a secluded place was suitable for rich people to live in. Thus, luxurious villas began to appear in their field of vision. Suddenly, an awe-inspiring wave of air swept across the sky, and one could even see beams of golden ripples of light with the naked eye. What's that? Xing Lai and Fu Tu asked together in surprise. Lin Muyu's eyes were cold. Looks like it's not that simple this time. It's him, he's finally here. Who is it? Li Xiaoyao asked. Jin Zun, a god whose strength is not inferior to mine. Will Jin Zun become our enemy? I don't know, should we continue with the mission? Proceed. 20 minutes later, the 7 cars slowly stopped at the end of the road that was about to disappear. Everyone got out of the cars and entered the mountainous area with guns in their hands. Quickly, they surrounded a villa in the distance. All the snipers entered a favorable location for sniping, while Lin Muyu and Li Xiaoyao casually walked over on foot. At the entrance of the villa, 2 young men in black suits raised their arms. For you, this is a private residence, no trespassing is allowed. Li Xiaoyao raised his hand and took out a document. He opened it and said, I'm Li Xiaoyao, the deputy commander of the East China Regional Police Force. I suspect that Luo Zhan is involved in illegal activities. This is the arrest warrant. Let him in. No, who knows if you're telling the truth? One of the bodyguards pressed the walkie-talkie lightly. Who would have thought that Lin Muyu would secretly exert her strength and activate her domain? Bang! The walkie-talkie's battery exploded and no information was sent back. If you don't open the door, we can only do it ourselves. His palm slashed down like a knife, directly splitting the door open from the middle. Sparks flew everywhere. The 2 bodyguards were dumbfounded. They reached into their pockets and were about to take out their guns. Li Xiaoyao reacted quickly. His left fist swept across the face of one bodyguard, and his left leg swept out with great force, kicking the other in the head. His figure casually spun in the snow and landed on the ground. With 2 muffled thuds, he directly knocked down his opponent. Good skills. Lin Muyu praised sincerely and said, but we still seem to have been discovered. Should we go in? Go in. As the old saying goes, since we're already here, be careful, Jin Zun is also in the villa. Maybe he knows Luo Zhan. Okay. The 2 of them walked through the snow into the villa. What greeted them were 7 or 8 bodyguards armed with submachine guns. Without saying a word, they opened fire and bullets flew towards them. Lin Muyu didn't say a word and continued to walk forward. However, the surroundings were already filled with his domain. The magnetic field became very chaotic and the bullets were all metal. In the chaotic magnetic field, they lost their original direction and randomly flew in all directions. Pai pai pa pa, sounds were heard as they shot into the surrounding ponds and walls. Without waiting for Li Xiaoyao and Lin Muyu to make a move, bullets came from the surrounding mountains. Instantly, 7 or 8 bodyguards fell to the ground. Almost all of them were killed in one shot. The Guardian team's marksmanship was not fake. Lin Muyu took a deep breath. Xiaoyao, your marksmanship is above mine. Li Xiaoyao rubbed his nose. This is nothing. My marksmanship is the best in the entire police district. Your swordsmanship isn't bad either. No wonder Wan Er and Dong Cheng are so loyal to you. Aren't you the same? Are we going to continue to flatter each other, or are we going to capture Luo Zhan? Let's get down to business. Lin Muyu raised her head and looked at the villa in front of them. There are still a dozen bodyguards waiting for us at the door. On the third floor, there are 3 women in the left room. They should be Luo Zhan's women. On the right side, there are 2 strong and weak breaths. The strong one is Jin Zun's and the weak one is Luo Zhan's. Let's just break the window and enter. Okay. Before she could finish her sentence, Lin Muyu had already turned into a ray of cold light and disappeared on the spot. The window in the distance shattered with a crash. Li Xiaoyao couldn't help but complain incessantly. In terms of speed, he was still too inferior. In the room, a middle-aged man wearing a suit was sitting behind the desk. His expression was calm. In front of him was an old man wearing a white robe. It was Jin Zun. Lin Muyu landed on the ground and smiled. Looks like you already guessed that I would come. Jin Zun smiled. That's right. Lin Muyu, we still meet. It's just that I didn't think that you would be involved in this matter. This old man has just made a deal with this Mr. Luo Zhan. Peng. Another sound rang out. Li Xiaoyao rushed in with his stellar sword and asked, What deal? Jin Zun laughed. Mr. Luo Zhan gave this treasure to me, and I will fulfill one of his wishes. That is, to kill you, Lin Muyu. Lin Muyu looked at the treasure in Jin Zun's palm. It was a simple and unadorned ring that emitted a righteous aura. A lifelike golden divine dragon appeared on the ring. Perhaps it was alive, because Lin Muyu could feel strands of divine power. She smiled. What treasure is this that is worth Jin Zun working so hard? The Origin Dragon Ring. It was once worn by the heavenly Emperor Fuxi. It possesses an extremely powerful divine power. Is a divine artifact worth you becoming my enemy? Lin Muyu's eyes burned. So what? Jin Zun raised his eyebrows. I wanted to have a showdown with you in the first place. What's more, the divine power of the Origin Dragon Ring is extremely great. Our southern divine realm needs this treasure to help us guard our borders, which are gradually becoming chaotic. As he spoke, Jin Zun raised his arm. Immediately, rays of fiery red light burned fiercely, forming a divine artifact. It was the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword. Immediately, the surrounding temperature rose by a lot. Li Xiaoyao's eyes were cold. Are you going to fight here? Lin Muyu raised her thumb and pointed behind her. Jin Zun, let's fight on the mountain over there. Don't involve the innocent. That's exactly what I was thinking. Xiaoyao, you stay here and arrest Luo Zhan. Wait. Luo Zhan abruptly stood up. Jin Zun, you promised me that you won't let Li Xiaoyao arrest me. Jin Zun sneered. I only promised to kill Li Xiaoyao. I never promised to be your dog. Luo Zhan's face was ashen. Swoosh, swoosh. 2 figures flew out of the window and headed straight for the mountain range to the east of the villa complex. This mountain was not very tall, and it was already covered in snow. There was no one on the mountain, so it was the perfect place for a fight. Chapter 11:13. At the peak of the snowy mountain, the wind was biting cold. Autumn in Shanghai had never been so cold before. Jin Zun held the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword tightly in his right hand, and the Origin Dragon Ring on his left hand glowed with a majestic light. There was a faint energy protecting Jin Zun's body. It was not without reason that he wanted to get this ring. The cold wind blew at Jin Zun's white beard. He looked at Lin Muyu with a gentle gaze and said, Although that despicable human just asked me to kill you, this battle is only about victory and defeat, not life and death. After all, the Southern Divine Realm and the East Heaven are not mortal enemies. What do you think, Lin General? Lin Muyu nodded and said, But if you lose, you must leave the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword in your hand. That is a treasure left behind by the ancestors of the desolate era. It should be left in the east and not taken to the southern divine realm. No problem. Jin Zun narrowed his eyes and said with a smile, But if I win, I want the Xianyuan sword in your hand. What do you think of this deal? Yes, it's a deal. Then, let's prepare for battle. Jin Zun took a deep breath. Suddenly, black flames danced around his body. That was the power of the law of chaos. The Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword spewed out flames that soared to the sky. In a short moment, his aura had already risen to the realm of the 99th heaven realm. Lin Muyu felt a slight chill in her heart. Jin Zun's domain actually made her feel a strong sense of oppression. Obviously, in terms of strength, Jin Zun was still above her. The cultivation of the 95th heaven realm could not be compared to the cultivation of the 99th heaven realm. However, this was only in terms of pure strength. If the invisible elephant art and immortal golden body were added, it would be hard to say. Clang. The Xianyuan sword was unsheathed, and the golden light was vast and mighty, reflecting the whole land like a golden mirror. After returning to Earth, Lin Muyu rarely encountered someone who could force her to use the Xianyuan sword. She actually felt a faint excitement in her heart. Rays of blood-red light slowly condensed into the Chi-Yu armor around her body. With a shout, the power of the invisible elephant formula was concentrated in her body. In just a moment, her momentum was no less than that of Jin Zun. Oh! Jin Zun was slightly stunned. He had not expected Lin Muyu's strength to be strong to such an extent. Take this. Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword slashed down like lightning, so fast that no one could react. Lin Muyu responded calmly. She raised the Xianyuan sword in front of her, and the two divine weapons collided violently. Suddenly, the sound of mountains and seas surged, and a strong storm blew on the top of the mountain, blowing away a large amount of snow. This attack was considered a tie. Lin Muyu's arm was slightly numb. She hurriedly diverted the force and spun her blade. With a dang sound, she blocked Jin Zun's fierce slash for the second time. The all-pervasive power of the chaotic rule rushed towards her face, but it was forcibly rebounded by the immortal golden body on the surface of Lin Muyu's body. This made Jin Zun extremely shocked. Without saying much, after making 3 swift slashes, Jin Zun calmly lifted his leg and gave a fierce kick. The chaotic air currents swirled violently on the tip of his foot. If this kick landed, it would not be a joke. Lin Muyu's movements were not inferior to Jin Zun's. At the moment when Jin Zun kicked, she also kicked. With a purring sound, the sky was filled with golden light. The air currents rushed in all directions. The piercingly cold auras kept colliding. In the snowy sky, it actually formed a scene of brilliant light. Streams of air currents rolled the flying snow down the mountain. Even Xing Lai, Fu Tu, and the other members of the Guardian team were slightly affected. They all cried out in pain and hid their heads under the rocks to avoid the air currents. Xing Lai could not open his eyes at all. He could not help but shout, "Is this still a human? This is too strong, isn't it?" Fu Tu said in a low voice, "Everyone be careful. Don't be affected by their battle." Li Xiaoyao had already brought Luo Zhan out of the villa and escorted him to the car. He looked at the battle on the snowy mountain coldly and said, "We won't be of much help here. Everyone, retreat 5 miles and wait for Lin Ji to finish." Swoosh, 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 streams of black energy swirled around Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword. Jin Zun's old face was filled with the desire to fight. He seemed to be very happy as he laughed loudly and said, "Come, let's see how you are going to take this old man's ultimate move." Lin Muyu felt a chill in her heart. Judging from the energy on Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword, she knew that this attack was not simple. The chaotic rule energy that was swirling at high speed was enough to tear the sky and the earth apart. Moreover, Jin Zun seemed to be immersed in the battle. He had to use his full strength in this attack. If it hit the earth, the impact would be no small matter. Thinking of this, he stepped into the void and leaped 100 meters. His body was in the air, and he held the sword with both hands. With a low shout, the golden wall of the 7 luminaries' holy gourd appeared in the air. He smiled faintly and said, "Jin Zun, come." "Ah!" Jin Zun let out a low roar and pointed his sword to the sky. Suddenly, the sky and earth began to spin. Attracted by the power, the snow and rocks on the snow mountain all flew up. There was a sense of chaos and doomsday. Under the cover of the rocks and snow was the light of Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword, which was 100 meters long. It looked like a giant shaking the sky. Lin Muyu quickly concentrated his strength. He knew that this layer of the gourd wall could not stop Jin Zun's attack. So he opened his left hand and controlled the wall of the gourd. His right hand was enshrouded in flames. With a shout, he activated the divine power of fire. Under the mysterious power, the Xianyuan sword spun rapidly and became huge in the blink of an eye, almost as big as Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword. Between heaven and earth, the two powerful forces collided with each other. Boom, boom, boom. The earth shook and the mountains shook. Layers of golden shock waves swept across the sky. In the distance, Xinglai, who was driving, saw this scene from the rearview mirror. He couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart, but he was also very excited. He murmured, "Is this a battle between gods? It's so awesome." Li Xiaoyao also looked at the battle behind him and took a deep breath. They are both people who can turn the tide of the battle. Fortunately, Lin Ji is our friend. It's a blessing for the world, a blessing for our country, Fu Tu said. Boss, can Lin Ji defeat that white-bearded old man? It looks like that white-bearded old man is very powerful. I don't know either. Li Xiaoyao fell into deep thought. Bang! In the sky, the two artifacts collided again. The biting cold energy storm made Lin Muyu and Jin Zun feel extremely uncomfortable. The area within 5 meters of the two had been turned into a purgatory. Ordinary people couldn't survive for even a second, but these two were the initiators of this purgatory. The winner had to be decided, because this concerned the ownership of the two artifacts. Wang! Jin Zun raised his fist and smashed it on Lin Muyu's chest armor. Instantly, a ping sound was heard. The immortal golden body glowed brightly, and the Chiyu armor was also buzzing. While Lin Muyu felt the pain, she swept her leg and kicked Jin Zun's waist. Bang! Lin Muyu's full-force kick was so powerful that Jin Zun grunted. His body moved for nearly 100 meters, but he disappeared in an instant. A chilling aura appeared behind Lin Muyu. Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword cut through the air with a murderous intent. Jin Zun used all his strength every time he attacked. He knew that this couldn't kill Lin Muyu. Just as Jin Zun expected, Lin Muyu rushed forward without looking back. Her speed was shocking. She used the falling star step to avoid Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword, and at the same time, she swept out the Xianyuan sword with the power of 5 elements, 8 wastelands destruction. Huh! Jin Zun was slightly stunned. He immediately put the sword in front of his chest and shouted, "Black Flame Chaos." A black energy shield quickly wrapped Jin Zun's body. This was a pure energy shield, and it was condensed by the chaotic and violent power of the law of chaos. When Lin Muyu's sword fell, there was a pung sound as if she had cut on steel. Not only did her arm feel numb, but she could also feel the violent and chaotic aura coming from the Xianyuan sword. However, Lin Muyu didn't flinch at all. She waved her sword and continued to slash. In the air, hundreds of meters long golden sword chi flew around. Ping 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 ping. It was a spectacular sight. Lin Muyu attacked almost crazily. In just 10 seconds, she slashed at least 100 times, which consumed a lot of her divine power. However, Jin Zun wasn't much better. He had cultivated the Black Flame Chaos for many years, and no one dared to continue attacking after he used it. The energy of the Black Flame Chaos was too violent. If the attacker used 100% of his power, he would suffer 80% of the backlash, which was equivalent to attacking himself. However, Lin Muyu seemed to be attacking crazily, which made Jin Zun feel very uncomfortable. The blood in his body was surging, and he felt like he couldn't support it. Originally, he thought that Lin Muyu would stop after about 200 strikes, but Jin Zun didn't expect Lin Muyu to be so fierce and violent. She attacked almost 1,000 times in 2 minutes, and her power didn't weaken at all. Instead, the Black Flame Chaos was starting to become chaotic. Finally, Jin Zun let out a furious roar. Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword turned from defense to offense. and it turned into a blazing flame that rushed forward. Lin Muyu, who was attacking crazily, couldn't defend in time. With a whoosh, she was swept by the flames. Her skin was burning, and she felt a terrible sense of weakness in her arms. Even her sovereign personality couldn't bear such a huge consumption. "Lose for me," Jin Zun shouted. Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword was infused with 100% of his divine power. Lin Muyu didn't have time to dodge, so she raised her sword horizontally to block. With a clang, the Xianyuan sword was pushed back and rested on her shoulder. Seeing this, Jin Zun's heart lit up. The second wave of power quickly crushed down. Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword slashed down on Qiyu's armor with a majestic power. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere. The divine power penetrated the armor and attacked Lin Muyu's immortal golden body. For a moment, the chaotic laws turned into raging flames that burned her body. The pain was unbearable. Lin Muyu gritted her teeth. In order to defeat such a powerful opponent, she had to take an unconventional approach. Using her body as bait was the best choice. Just when Jin Zun thought he was going to win, Lin Muyu's left hand freed up. She grabbed a small demonic sonorous blade from her waist and slashed at Jin Zun's face. Bang! Finally, Jin Zun's divine wall dissipated. This was a great opportunity for Lin Muyu. A powerful wave of divine power rippled out from the Xianyuan sword and shook off Jin Zun's Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword. Oh no! Jin Zun hurriedly retreated. The moment the divine wall broke, if he was attacked by Lin Muyu with all her strength, he might lose his life. Therefore, Jin Zun instantly withdrew his body. His body dissipated and condensed again. He was already 10 meters away. However, what Jin Zun didn't expect was that Lin Muyu didn't attack with the Xianyuan sword. Instead, she raised her left hand and took out a pistol. The black muzzle pointed straight at Jin Zun's face. Bang! Chapter 11:14. One of his front teeth flew into the sky, with a faint trace of golden blood on it. Jin Zun howled in pain and raised his head to look at his front teeth in the air. All sorts of feelings welled up in his heart. He had never expected that Lin Muyu would use a weapon from Earth. That disdainful weapon had actually knocked out the front teeth that he was so proud of. A wisp of coldness pressed against Jin Zun's neck. It was the Xianyuan sword. Lin Muyu gripped the hilt of the sword with steady strength. She smiled and said, "Senior, you've lost." Jin Zun continued to raise his head because he knew how sharp the Xianyuan sword was. As long as Lin Muyu pushed the blade forward slightly, his 10,000 years of cultivation would probably be destroyed. Nodding lightly, Jin Zun said, "The new generation excels the old. This old man is convinced." Lin Muyu flipped her wrist and sheathed the Xianyuan sword. She stretched out her hand and said like a child asking for candy, "Senior, you have to keep your word. Give me the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword. Anyway, your main purpose here is the origin dragon ring. Now that the ring is yours, no one will fight you for that divine artifact ring." Jin Zun was a bit disappointed. He looked at the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword with reluctance in his eyes and said, "Lin General, do you really want it?" "Yes, I must." "All right." Jin Zun raised his hand and the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword landed in Lin Muyu's hand in the next moment. Lin Muyu had a supreme disposition and was proficient in the 12 laws. Her power of fire was only inferior to Tang Xiaoxi's. Naturally, she was able to recognize the Zhu Rong sacred fire sword as its master very quickly. When the sword was no longer violent, she threw it into her cosmos sack. It would not be of use for a while. "Lin General." Standing in the wind and snow, Jin Zun suddenly called out in disappointment. Lin Muyu said, "Senior, I understand. We will release Tong Mingqiao after we return. As long as the Southern God Realm does not become our enemy, we will not make things difficult for you." "Thank you." Jin Zun cupped his fists in salute and said, "Lin General, you must have also sensed that something ominous is about to happen, right?" The tacit understanding between top experts was indeed different. Lin Muyu nodded and muttered, "Yes, I can sense it, but I can't do anything about it. This isn't a change that you and I can control. The power of the laws is disappearing, and I can sense that the faith of the gods is also collapsing. That's right. Jin Zun's eyes glowed brightly as he said, the gods have been addicted to killing and conquering for far too long. They have long forgotten their own mission. The gradual weakening of the rules and faith means that some kind of power in the sky has run out of patience and is about to reshuffle. Reshuffle? Lin Muyu was slightly surprised. He knew that Jin Zun was experienced and knowledgeable, so he said, Senior, please explain, what do you mean by reshuffling? But Jin Zun shook his head. This matter? I do not know the details, but the sudden change means that something big is about to happen. I have already received the Lord Realm King's divine decree that something big is probably going to happen in the God Realm. The seal of the 6 realms is currently under attack, and the person in charge of guarding the seal is the blazing angel Eva. I can only hope that Eva can hold the seal. If that is the case, then the people will be able to escape this calamity. What will happen if the seal of the 6 realms is broken? Probably a reshuffle. The power of the laws and faith will completely disappear, and heavenly punishment will descend. The gods will also fall, lose their divine power, and become mortals again. Jin Zun looked at Lin Muyu and said, Our power will also disappear. Lin Muyu took a deep breath. He knew that Jin Zun was not exaggerating, because he had the same premonition. He cupped his fists and said respectfully, Senior, then I will be returning. Jin Zun nodded. I will also be returning to the Southern God Realms soon. Lin General, take care of yourself. I hope we will have a chance to meet again in the future. Jin Zun looked up at the sky and suddenly soared into the sky. Rays of light quickly engulfed his figure. He had already ascended to the divine realm. Lin Muyu's heart was filled with anxiety. What should she do? Amidst the wind and snow, Lin Muyu slowly descended from the sky and landed next to the caravan. Lin Ji, did you win? Li Xiaoyao asked. We won. Lin Muyu's expression was solemn as she said, Xiaoyao, take him back with you. I'm going home first, so I won't be accompanying you. The crisis in the Southern God Realm has been resolved, so you should release Tong Mingqiao after you return. Lin Muyu flew into the air and slowly retreated, disappearing into the spatial crack behind her. Xing Lai axe. Let's go. Li Xiaoyao brushed the snow off his shoulders. Go back early. The other teams should have already finished their work. From today onwards, there will be no more One Heart Society. In the 8 Wastelands realm, a ray of light gathered to form the image of Lin Muyu, appearing in front of the 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor. The 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor was currently holding a peach, considering whether to wash it before eating. Yo, Big brother, did something happen in the God Realm? Lin Muyu asked. You felt it too? The 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor said casually as if nothing had happened. Something big did happen. If my guess is correct, the blazing angel Eva of the Western Divine Realm is dead. What Eva is dead? Lin Muyu was shocked. The 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor nodded. Eva's divine power has disappeared. It should have been devoured by the power of the Devil Realm in the seal of the 6 realms. Sigh. Poor Eva, a blazing angel died in such a worthless way. Since the seal of the 6 realms is about to be destroyed, why don't we lend a hand? Lend a hand? The 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor couldn't help but laugh. Silly boy, Claude's 50,000 angel army is between us and the Chaos Realm. Before we get there, the angel army will probably beat us up first. Now, no one can stop the world from collapsing. The seal of the 6 realms must be destroyed. Even if we gather all the power of the 4 divine realms, we won't be able to protect the seal. Just the invasion of the Devil Realm isn't enough to destroy the seal. Most importantly, this is the will of the heavens. The heavenly Tao is already dissatisfied with the violence and disputes of the gods. It will punish the actions of the gods. You must be mentally prepared. Soon, we will all lose our divine power and become mortals. Then, how long? How much time do I have left? More than 10 days within a month. Hurry up and settle your family matters. then return to the Shattered Cauldron realm. They need you more there. Lin Muyu nodded. Before withdrawing her divine power, she said, Big brother, you and big sister Xiao have to be careful. The 7 luminaries demon emperor couldn't help but feel warmth in his heart. And we will. You have to take care too. For a long time, I might not be able to help you at all. Emin. The Chaos Realm was no longer dark. The flames of the Devil Realm illuminated the entire space. The roars of the dark divine beast servant became increasingly sorrowful. One could even call it a wail. Its mouth was wide open, and strands of blue demonic aura flowed into the divine realm. The seal of the 6 realms that was originally sealing the dark divine beast servant was now only a small piece of it. The golden runes were slowly disappearing. Be careful of your defenses. In the sky, rows of angel armies were already ready. Under the command of a radiant angel, they drew their swords and gathered their light divine power to attack the leaking demonic aura. Boom! The demonic aura was biting cold. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 angels died in battle, turning into a stream of light in the universe. Lord, we can't hold them off anymore. The group of angels revealed looks of fear. What do we do? Is the Lord Juggernaut still not coming? The radiant angel's face was filled with despair. The Lord Juggernaut won't come. Prepare to retreat. Be careful, the demonic aura is coming again. This time, an even stronger wave of blue demonic aura shot out like a sharp arrow, blasting straight at the place where the angels were the most concentrated. The group of angels' faces were filled with horror. They couldn't hold on any longer. At this moment, a blazing light suddenly exploded in the sky. 6 beautiful wings spread open in the sky, and a familiar and beautiful figure descended from the sky. The blazing moon sword swept across. Bang! The entire area of demonic aura was instantly swept away. Her back was facing everyone, and a pair of beautiful eyes looked in the direction of the dark divine beast servant. She murmured, Eva, my Eva, where are you, Lady Xian? The group of angels recognized her, and they all knelt down. Greetings, Lady Blazing Angel Xian. Hurry up and leave. Xian turned to look at everyone, an indescribable sorrow in her eyes. It's not easy to cultivate in this lifetime. Don't die here in vain. Hurry up and leave. The group of angels left one after another. Xian carried the blazing moon sword and walked step by step toward the seal of the 6 realms. This had already become the most dangerous place in the world, and the last wisp of Eva's aura had also disappeared here. Eva. The closer Xian got, the denser the demonic aura coming from the seal of the 6 realms became. In the blink of an eye, giant arms spread out and attacked. Xian raised her head, her eyes filled with anger. The 6 wings behind her spread out violently, and the blazing moon sword erupted with a dazzling light. She shouted, Are you going to be destroyed? Then come, destroy everything. Let me see what you want. Sword Chi soared through the air, shattering all the giant arms made of demonic aura. At the same time, a broken sword with a faint luster was revealed between the teeth of the dark divine beast servant. The Merry Spirit Sword, Eva's sword. Just like the name of the sword, although Eva had great power, she had never killed any innocent mortals. She was kind and upright, but now she had been reduced to ashes. Xian floated down and knelt beside the broken Merry Spirit Sword. Her shoulders trembled slightly, and she couldn't help but burst into tears. Roar, roar, roar. Under the seal of the 6 realms, the demonic aura became denser and denser. Strands of demonic aura began to overflow, lingering around Xian like ghosts, eroding the former number 1 blazing angel. Xian's tears flowed, and the blazing moon sword shone brightly, as if it wanted to protect its master. However, Xian didn't move. She gently held the Merry Spirit Sword and looked at the demon realm under the seal of the 6 realms. Her eyes were filled with sorrow and despair, and she murmured, What do you want? Do you want to devour everything? That's good, that's good. Then let me see how ugly your faces are. The light of the blazing moon sword suddenly increased, and Xian's beautiful figure passed through the seal of the 6 realms like a firefly, entering the dark and dusky shore. Chapter 11:15. October 5th. It had been snowing for 3 days and 3 nights, and it showed no signs of stopping. This was a global snowfall, and almost all the country's meteorological departments could do nothing about it. No one knew what was happening, and no one could use scientific theories to analyze the cause of this snowfall. The temperature had reached -15 degrees Celsius, which was a record-breaking low in Shanghai. It was still warm inside the Lin family's villa. The air conditioner was blowing hot air so that the people in the room would not be too cold. The curtains facing the road were open, and they could see the harsh weather outside. There were very few cars on the road, but there were many cleaners cleaning up the snow. Otherwise, the road would be impossible to walk on at all. In a few more days, the snow will be half a person's height. Lin Yan looked outside worriedly and suddenly asked, "Xiaoji, you're a god. Can't you explain this strange weather?" "Maybe." Lin Muyu held a hot cup of coffee in her hand and looked at the falling snow outside the window with a solemn gaze. "Tell me why." It was Lin Shun who spoke, and he had already put down the newspaper in his hand. Lin Muyu said softly, "Dad, brother, this isn't just happening on Earth. It's happening on millions of planets with life that you can't see. The temperature of the entire universe has dropped. In the God realm, the gods call this divine punishment. If you must understand it, you can understand it as heaven's wrath. The heavens are dissatisfied with the gods' behavior and have begun to deprive them of their power." Lin Shun was slightly shocked. "Xiaoji, you're a god too. Will this affect you?" "Yes, I'll lose most of my power." Lin Muyu nodded. At the side, Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi looked at the window and silently agreed with Lin Muyu's words. Both of them had over-god personalities, so they could naturally feel the weakening and loss of divine power, and the speed was getting faster and faster. If this continued, they would soon lose all their divine power, and their power would fall back to the holy heaven state or even lower. Lin Shun was silent for a few seconds, and then said softly, "Xiaoji, if there's really any danger, why don't you, Xiao Yin, and Xiaoxi stay here? Even if you lose your power, you can live well here. Isn't it good for our family to stay together like this?" Lin Muyu was slightly moved. "Dad, I know I should stay, but that's my responsibility. I can't keep running away. My friends are still waiting for me to help and save them in the other world. If I hide here, I'm afraid even I will look down on myself." Lin Muyu's heart was slightly moved. "Forget it. You decide your own matters. I won't interfere." Lin Shun felt even more desolate as he said this. "Dad, I'll come back." Lin Muyu stood up, pulled the curtains, and looked at the falling snow outside. She said, "Even if it's heavenly punishment, there will be a day when we get through it. There will definitely be a way to solve all difficulties. I'll come back, and our family will live together. Don't worry, this is my promise. I once swore that I would not betray the world, and I will not betray this family." Lin Shun nodded, picked up the newspaper again, and said, "I'm going to the tea room to make some tea. Do you want to come with me?" Qin Yin couldn't help but smile. "Uncle, we can just drink coffee here. You don't know, in the Shattered Cauldron realm, we drink tea almost every day, but we don't know the taste of coffee. Who knows how long it will be before we can drink coffee again after we go back?" Lin Shun also smiled. "All right, Lin Yan, come with me to make tea. You should also learn the way of tea. Otherwise, it won't be good if you're confused when discussing business and the way of tea in the future." Lin Yan complained incessantly. "All right, Dad." The two of them went to the tea room next to the study. Not long after, the sound of boiling water could be heard. "Mu, are you all right?" Tang Xiaoxi stood up and came to Lin Muyu's side. She pulled on his hand and said, "Don't worry too much. There will always be a solution to the situation. Besides, there are so many experts in the God realm. Will they really let the heavens take away the status of the gods?" Lin Muyu turned around and naturally hugged her slender waist. He said softly, "Even the demon emperor is helpless. What can the other gods do?" Oh, at this moment, Xianxia, who was holding a cup of coffee on the sofa, suddenly cried out. The coffee cup in her hand fell to the ground and rolled far away on the carpet. Xianxia's eyes were wide open, and her whole body was trembling. Her godly power was flowing chaotically. Tears swirled in her eyes, and she suddenly cried out in pain. "What's wrong, Xiaoyin?" Lin Muyu hurriedly rushed to her side and supported her. Xianxia sobbed bitterly. She gritted her teeth and tears flowed out of her eyes. Sister Xian. Something happened to her. There was some kind of connection between god emperors who were deeply in love. If something happened to one of them, the other would definitely sense it. Xianxia sensed that Xian was in danger, so it couldn't be wrong. Xiaoyin. Lin Muyu caressed her back and said, "Don't cry, don't cry. What did you see?" "I saw." Xianxia raised her head and looked at him. Her long eyelashes were stained with tiny drops of tears. She said with a sobbing tone, "I saw Sister Xian plunged into darkness and was devoured by countless ferocious devil auras. I saw the Jiu's sword lost its radiance. Sister Xian's aura disappeared. Her aura disappeared." As she spoke, Xianxia suddenly broke free from Lin Muyu's embrace. Light burst out from her body, and a beam of light broke through the blue dome of heaven. She was about to ascend. "Xiaoyin, stop!" Lin Muyu shouted loudly. Even Xian couldn't fight against a strong enemy. "Can you fight against it? Are you going to leave us behind and die by yourself? What do you want us to do?" "But I..." Golden runes revolved around Xianxin's body. She cried like a pear blossom in the rain. "I can't sit and do nothing. Sister Xian needs me, don't worry." Lin Muyu walked forward and held her little hand. Dispelling the cyclone of ascension, she said, "Don't you know Sister Xian's personality? She stands aloof from worldly affairs. She is calm and composed. She will never do anything impulsive. What you sensed is just the tip of the iceberg. You can't be sure that Sister Xian's life is in danger. The reason why we can't sense her aura is probably because Xian has gone to another big space. She is so far away that even you and I can't sense her aura." Standing aside, Tang Xiaoxi slightly nodded and said, "Xiaoyin Mu is right. We are all worried about Sister Xian, but we can't be irrational and impulsive. Otherwise, things will only get harder to handle." Xianxin's emotions were still unstable. Only she and Xian could understand each other's feelings for each other. Back then, Xianxin had no one to rely on in the 6 paths of reincarnation. Xian had been protecting and helping her all the time. Therefore, in Xianxin's heart, Xian was probably one of her family members since long ago. "Xiaoyin," said Lin Muyu with a soft and gentle voice, "I promise you, I will find Gong Gong's navy right away. Once I find them, I will take them and fly up to the heaven realm with you. I will try my best to find Sister Xian. Just wait for a while, okay?" Xianxin cried so hard that she buried her face in Tang Xiaoxi's arms. Tang Xiaoxi pouted at Lin Muyu and said, "Although I like the life here, the situation doesn't allow us to enjoy it here anymore. Mu, go find Gong Gong's navy right now. We should return to the divine realm as soon as possible." Lin Muyu gently stomped on the ground. A layer of golden ripples spread out as she said in a low voice, "Gomong, come here." "Leader, I'm here." Behind her, Gomong's silhouette slowly condensed. Lin Muyu said, "Let's go now to the South Sea to find Gong Gong's navy." The moment they flew out of the villa area, Lin Muyu saw that Shanghai had fallen into a world of ice and snow. There were traffic jams everywhere, and the traffic was completely paralyzed. Moreover, all flights around the world had been cancelled, and the global traffic was paralyzed. The negative impact this snow had on the whole world was really too great. At this time, people all over the world were in a state of panic. No one knew what was going on. Religions all over the world also issued statements like heaven's wrath, saying that God was punishing the world and that it was time to repent. As for the end of the world, there were countless people who believed that it was the end of the world. Everyone felt insecure and could not work. This change would definitely cause an economic setback. Flying in the wind and snow, Lin Muyu looked at the vast land. Looking at this land that belonged to her, she couldn't help but feel a lump in her throat. She was a god, but she couldn't do anything. Leader. Gomong seemed to have seen through Lin Muyu's thoughts and said, "This is a great disaster. Neither humans nor gods can change anything. We'd better deal with the aftermath as soon as possible." Go to the South Sea as soon as possible. Yes. 2 streams of air exploded in the air. The 2 had already appeared 100 miles away through the Chisel Plain. They continued to fly in the direction of the South Sea at full speed. Even Lin Muyu didn't have time to say hello to Li Xiaoyao. Because things happened too quickly, even a top expert like Shi Yan had met with an accident. The whole divine realm must be in chaos. In less than an hour, the 2, who were shuttling through the wind and snow, went straight to the predetermined coordinates like a meteor. In the distance, they could already see the vast South Sea through the curtain of snow. Moreover, Lin Muyu used her divine power and could actually see huge objects appearing on the surface of the sea. Those were the naval exercises in the South Sea. They were actually still on the sea and hadn't returned to the port. In the curtain of snow, a complete aircraft carrier battle group appeared in her field of vision. With Lin Muyu's ability, she could even see the people on the deck of the aircraft carrier who were commanding the reinforced fighter jets, and she could even hear their shouts and orders in the wind. Humans, Gomong snorted coldly in disdain. Lin Muyu didn't say anything. She just narrowed her eyes and confirmed again. Yes, this aircraft carrier was the George Washington. As for the large ship further away, it was the flagship, the Blue Ridge. The other enormous objects were guided missile cruisers and destroyers. What a powerful naval force. No wonder they could run amok in the South Sea. Leader, do we need to end them? Asked Gomong. No need. Lin Muyu shook her head. Find the Gong Gong Navy first. Gomong, can you sense the location of the Gong Gong Navy? Right below this human navy. Damn, Lin Muyu secretly complained. It seemed that she had to do something even if she didn't want to. Chapter 11:16. Buzz. At this moment, a sharp whistling sound came from the snow curtain behind them. A black shadow rushed over, and at the same time, there was the sound of a machine gun firing. Was a small drone. We've been discovered. Lin Muyu shouted in a low voice. Gomong, put on the mask. Don't let them recognize us. Meanwhile, Lin Muyu also reached out and pulled the black silk scarf that she had prepared around her neck, covering most of her face. The cloak behind her suddenly flew up, and she entered the state of God transformation. She turned around and slashed at the drone. Suddenly, under the raging sword energy, the drone was split into 2 and fell with an explosion. The reaction speed of the M's army was too fast. As soon as the drone was attacked, the ships on the sea immediately rushed over. The DDG model destroyer closest to them was the fastest. Before it even got close, it had already launched a machine gun fire. Dense flames intertwined in the air, and Lin Muyu was in the center of the intertwining. She used the falling star steps and jumped twice in a row, easily avoiding the machine gun's lock-on. Lin Muyu raised her long sword and slashed at the destroyer with great force. Boom! This sword was extremely powerful, and it instantly hit the middle of the destroyer, splitting a long hole in it. Seawater poured in crazily. In fact, with Lin Muyu's strength, it was not difficult to split the destroyer in 2, but he did not want to kill, so he gave the soldiers on the ship time to board the lifeboats to escape. However, the other party did not seem to buy it. The sinking warship suddenly shot out a red light, heading straight for Lin Muyu from hundreds of meters away. It was a lock-on attack, a tomahawk missile. Lin Muyu opened her palm fearlessly. With a buzz, the wall of the gourd condensed in front of her and suddenly exploded with a bang. Flames rose into the sky. This tomahawk missile could not do anything to Lin Muyu at all. It did not even consume much energy. Gomong, go into the water. It's more important to find the Gong Gong Navy. Yes, leader. Gomong dived into the sea. Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows and looked at the destroyers, attack ships, and the USS Washington in the distance. Without saying a word, she slowly descended, condensed a shield around her, and sank into the sea. The sea should have been very cold, but the existence of the shield separated the water. Even Lin Muyu's clothes did not get wet. Up above, the auras were chaotic. The aircraft carrier battle group was in an uproar as they searched for Lin Muyu's whereabouts. After all, Lin Muyu had sunk one of their destroyers with a single strike of her sword. This was an unprecedented humiliation for the M nation in recent years. In the deep sea, Gomang raised the Gomang saber and continued to sink, while Lin Muyu followed closely behind. At the same time, auras began to approach. It was the M nation's nuclear submarine. Lin Muyu frowned. These people were really persistent. No matter what, this was China's territorial waters, right? However, she could not sink the submarine. After all, once the submarine sank, the people inside would definitely die. The soldiers were innocent, and Lin Muyu did not want to kill people at all. Therefore, her gaze turned cold, and a beam of domain power shuttled through the sea. Immediately, the submarine's lights could no longer be lit. It had fallen into a temporary state of magnetic field disorder and circuit cut. It could not pose a threat to Lin Muyu for a while, and its own life would not be in danger. Not long after, the two arrived at the bottom of the sea. Standing in the soft depths of the sea, Lin Muyu looked around and said, "What's going on? I can't see any trace of them." Of course they won't sleep at the bottom of the sea so openly. Otherwise, the sharks will eat them. Gomang smiled faintly. These warriors are still deeper. Oh! Lin Muyu was slightly surprised. Gomang raised his arm and shouted. Under the surge of his divine power, the soil at the bottom of the sea flew up inch by inch. When he lifted up nearly 10 meters of soil, he suddenly found some signs of civilization below. There were some carved stones, and he could faintly see a totem in the shape of a cow's head. He found it. It was the totem of the Jiuli tribe. After Gomang forcibly moved away a building that looked like a door, there were cellar-like existences below. Gomang smiled faintly. The sands of time did not wash away your sharpness, did they? Warriors of my tribe, wake up. Quickly come and meet your new master, your new leader. Stimulated by Gomang's power, the seawater surged and washed away the soil in the cellar. 3-meter-tall giants stood in the cellar one after another, motionless like terracotta warriors. Organs that looked like fish scales and fins could even be seen on their bodies. As for the hands of these giants, most of them were holding long spears. After tens of thousands of years, these spears still glowed with a terrifying luster. Gong Gong's navy was similar to the spirit creature mermaids and mermaids. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The giants opened their eyes one after another. Their pupils were faintly blue, looking at Gomang with respect. They knew Gomang because he used to be in the same generation as their leader. Lin Muyu quickly took out the star stone, raised it high, and growled in a deep voice, "From now on, you are my army, and you will follow my orders. Do you understand?" The giants hesitated for 2 to 3 seconds, then kneeled down together and responded, "Greetings, Lord Leader." "Good, wake up your people and follow me." "Yes, leader." The bottom of the sea turned chaotic. Numerous water-kind creatures swam over with shining long spears in their hands. Many of them even had fish whiskers, looking quite funny. However, they all looked serious and serious, which made it hard for Ji how to laugh. Soon, a large group of divine-level warriors stood on the bottom of the sea. "Do we need to count the number?" asked Lin Muyu. Gomang smiled and responded, "No need, they're all here. Over 30,500 people, what should we do next?" Lin Muyu raised her head, looked at the sky and said, "It's time to let these brave warriors see the light of day again." "Yes, Lord Leader." On the surface of the sea, armed helicopters hovered in the wind and snow, while tens of warships were sailing around the enormous swirl in the middle. People all knew that something big must have happened at the bottom of the sea, but they didn't know what it was. Snipers were stationed on the edges of the decks of those warships, nervously aiming at the center. Swoosh! A ripple rose, and right after that Lin Muyu showed up. In the sky, the lights of the helicopters gathered on Lin Muyu, illuminating the darkness of the evening as if it were daytime. "Shoot him!" someone shouted, and gunshots were heard from all directions. Many bullets were spitting out, and they went straight for Lin Muyu. The soldiers of the Navy panicked, and the person in front of them seemed to be a visitor from outer space. The flight of bullets was supposed to be a matter of an instant, but with Lin Muyu's cultivation, he could clearly see the flight path of each bullet. He couldn't help but laugh, and with a buzz, an invisible field opened up around him. Suddenly, all the bullets bounced off, and none of them could cause any harm to Lin Muyu. Slowly raising his left fist, rays of golden light shot up into the sky. Lin Muyu had already raised the power of the invisible elephant formula to the extreme, and even light blue lightning appeared around his fist, and a strong magnetic force was about to be released. The commanders on the warships were all stunned. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Lin Muyu suddenly dived down and punched the surface of the sea. The entire surface of the sea trembled violently. The domain impact generated by this punch swept over with a loud bang, turning into a golden airflow that spread wildly. All the battleships and their engines that encountered this impact stopped operating. Of course, except for the nuclear-powered USS Washington, the rest of the battleships almost instantly stopped operating and just stayed on the surface of the sea. The fighter jets that were receiving orders to take off also stopped moving. Country M's Aerospace Command Center. The big screen suddenly trembled violently, and the satellite images on the screen were also chaotic. Faintly, one could see a golden energy rushing in all directions on the sea, with a radius of hundreds of miles. A group of staff was stunned, and they asked each other what happened, but they couldn't get an answer. Everyone reported that the communication between the various fleets had been lost, and soon, the satellite images also disappeared. The entire command hull was dead silent. Ping! The commander with the rank of admiral slammed his fist on the table and roared angrily. "Ice, wreak havoc!" Lin Muyu spread his hands and released his divine power. Instantly, the sea began to freeze. The surging sea calmed down instantly, and the warships were also frozen on the sea. The soldiers on the warships were all dumbfounded, and they could only watch what was happening in front of them helplessly. The deck of Washington was filled with soldiers with guns, and they were all at a loss. Lin Muyu's goal was simple. He flew above the aircraft carrier with a long sword in his hand, pointed at the ice on the sea, and said with a penetrating voice, "Get down, everyone." The soldiers shot crazily. However, not a single bullet could cause any harm to Lin Muyu. On the contrary, the ice on the edge of the aircraft carrier exploded one after another. Monsters with long halberds flew out of the sea one after another, roaring at the soldiers, and began to drive the people on Washington away. The Gong Gong Navy was invulnerable, not even bullets. Soon, the soldiers became desperate and helpless. One after another, they began to leave the aircraft carrier and head to other battleships to seek survival. After nearly an hour, everyone on the aircraft carrier had left. Lin Muyu launched another magnetic shock wave, destroying the tracking devices on the aircraft carrier and the battleship. Then, with an order, the aircraft carrier started moving again. However, this time, it was not powered by nuclear power. Instead, it was powered by human power. Numerous Gong Gong Navy soldiers pushed the aircraft carrier through the ice behind it. Lin Muyu raised his head and glanced at the sky. Wherever his mind reached, dark clouds rolled over. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The dark clouds hid the aircraft carrier at an extremely low altitude. Just like that, the aircraft carrier left the South China Sea with Washington. The speed of the aircraft carrier was getting faster and faster, and it had long surpassed the original speed of Washington. Late at night, in Yulin, Hainan, a cloud drifted over from the base of the South China Sea Fleet. It also brought a Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, Washington, which was the world's leading technology. The aircraft carrier quickly entered the hidden area of the mountain. Zhong Nanhai issued an order. Within half a month, they would break up the entire fleet and begin to crack the technical system of Washington. However, the meritorious minister had quietly left and returned to Shanghai with 30,000 Navy troops. The next day, the M Nation released shocking news, claiming that the world's largest robbery in history had taken place. A masked robber of unknown origin had robbed an extremely precious military facility. He had robbed an aircraft carrier, as well as the aircraft carrier that was fully loaded with carrier-based aircraft. For the time being, no organization claimed responsibility for this matter. Experts believed that this matter had something to do with the recent abnormal weather, and so on. Shanghai, the Lin family's villa. Watching the heated news on TV, Lin Muyu crossed her legs and couldn't help but sneer. She suddenly regretted it. In fact, she should have dragged the flagship, Blue Ridge, away with her. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.